Oh, am I on the right window?
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right, guys. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Perfect Zeros podcast, episode number 2. I am Steele.
Dylan.
I'm Zach.
And Tyler. Oh, hold on. Okay, wrong way. Okay. Tyler.
Sometimes whenever the camera's looking at you, you don't know how to turn it. Yeah. So anyways, this is our weekly podcast. I don't know if this is going to become like a what would they call that? If there's 2 episodes a week? I know it's not bi-weekly.
Semi-weekly?
Semi-weekly? But it's not really.
Actually, I think bi-weekly can be twice a week or once every 2 weeks. I've
heard it
used for
it's
both.
Weird
like that.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's really weird. So I don't know. We'll probably have an episode tomorrow as well. So feel free to join us then. Today we have, like you guys saw there, we got some new faces on here. Obviously, Tyler Petunia haters here, and then
That's what I'm gonna be known as.
Yeah. I still got to show you that meme, or that drawing that somebody drew of you. But we do have Tyler and not Tyler, Dylan and Zach, some new faces on here. Josh will be returning tomorrow. So pretty much what's been going on, guys. Anything new with you guys? I mean, I've been pretty much just hanging out, still doing the same thing. I've been spending so much time learning how to podcast. It's pretty much made me kind of a semi-audiophile. It's been pretty fucking terrible. I'll sit here and I'll watch all these YouTube videos of people explaining about microphones and headphones and all this other fancy stuff.
If you ever want to be really bored, I can go into great depth on that for you.
Dude, the terminology and the vocabulary that people use to describe sounds or the way something sounds, this sounds tinny, this sounds bland, this sounds like rainbows and stuff like that, and I'm just oh Jesus, this is so what do they use that word, what's that word that they use whenever they it's like a fine wine, pretentious.
Pretentious,
yeah,
I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, I just used that word not too long ago. But and then whenever Chow and I went over to Best Buy and they had all these headphones and shit like that hooked up, and I started putting on the headphones and I was like, you know what, this headphone sounds kind of tinny,
Yep.
And eventually
oh God, it's happening to
I
me.
know that's exactly what's been going on with me. So I'm just oh shit, dude, this is getting pretty terrible. I don't want to be that person anymore.
Well, any hobby anybody ever has that they get really into, they're probably going to be pretty pretentious about it.
Yeah, kind of.
It's just how I think is just the nature.
I mean,
of the
Dylan,
beast.
you're kind of a music guy, right? So explain some of the things you do, and then tell us about some of the equipment that you have to deal with.
So I guess I guess I should start with, I went to one of my degrees is in sound arts, so audio engineering and production. I've been interested in music since I was a child. I think when I was 5, I think my favorite album was Rebel Yell by Billy Idol.
Oh my God,
that's
yeah.
advanced.
Does anybody know?
I remember being extremely upset with my parents because they wouldn't let me bleach my hair.
Wait, what year was this? Circa late 80s?
Circa 1985.
Yeah.
probably.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's about the right era for that. Yeah.
But yeah, apparently my parents thought it would be inappropriate to let their 5-year-old get his hair bleached. So I should probably thank them for that.
Yeah. So this is the beginnings. These were the roots.
Yeah. So that was kind of the beginnings. I grew when we were little. We lived in a pretty crummy neighborhood, bad enough that it could be sketchy to play outside during the day. But we had cable. And
okay.
So
MTV.
So I grew up watching a lot of MTV. This was back when MTV was music television.
Yeah,
right.
They actually played music videos.
Played music videos. I only that far back. I remember. Yeah, I mean, it was always music videos, except for they had one actual television show that was a game show called Remote Control. But even that was about music.
When did Yo MTV Rap start?
That had to have been in the late 80s,
early 90s,
I think, if I remember correctly. But even then, still, it was that was a TV show about music videos. So,
It's like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's I grew up with that, and then like I said, I went to college for audio engineering, which was super interesting. I decided to do that because I'd been DJing for a couple of years.
Oh shit.
So this was a very long time ago. I used to do a lot of house parties, and then I had a regular thing at a small nightclub. This was when I lived in South Carolina.
I bet you got some crazy ass hella stories.
I've got some fun stories from those times. It's you know how it is with with that kind of scene.
That scene, yeah.
With that scene, I mean, it's
no, I could totally see that.
It's a lot of drugs and alcohol, and those have a tendency to lower people's inhibitions pretty significantly.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure I could tell you a few funny things.
Do you miss that scene, or I know you're probably a little bit older than whenever you were doing it, but I mean I could imagine.
I mean, yes and no. I missed the fun parts of it.
Some of the people, I bet.
Yeah, some of the people, and I mean just being in a good venue that's got good acoustic qualities, and just the rush of everybody else's emotions and everything, you kind of feed off of that, and it's really exhilarating. But it's I don't know. I have a recurring theme in my life too, where I feel like anytime I start to really get into something, eventually it becomes cool, and then you no longer want it. And that always seems to ruin it. Yeah, because that's when you start getting, like you said, the pretentious people start getting involved, and that just that always just shoots holes in it for me. But yeah, so I'd been DJing for a couple of years, and I ended up going to college for sound arts, and then ever since then I've just kind of dabbled on a strictly hobby basis.
Shit, man, I got to hear some of the stuff that you've done before, and
I'll have to dig through my old files and stuff. I'm pretty sure I still have some stuff on like floppy disks.
Dylan says that he's gonna do some music for the podcast, so you guys gotta grill him about that. Give him some shit about it.
Yeah, so I'm working on a little,
Did you bring a sample?
45-second? No, I did not. Like maybe a little 45-second
jingle. Yeah.
Thing.
That's all we need. Yeah.
So
right now it's just dead silence. So
something along the the chiptune lines. Yeah. So
I hope everybody out there likes chiptunes.
And if you don't, too
bad.
We don't want you listening if you don't like chiptunes.
Chiptunes and floppy drives. Have you guys seen the floppy drive music?
Oh yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
Yeah. No, I've not seen this.
How do they reproduce some of those sounds?
I don't know. I don't know. We might need to find a clip for Dylan just to show him here.
You're talking about where it's like fax machines and the screeches from modems connecting. Yeah.
It's it's like a hard drive or something like that.
Yeah.
So what am I looking up? Like
just floppy drive music.
Is it PY?
Yeah, PPY.
Yep.
Drive music. Oh, yeah, there we go.
I think the Skyrim theme, if that's one of the top ones, is pretty cool. Or you can do like Star Wars there. The Mr. Solid Snake 745 I know is pretty good.
Hold on. Oh, this one right here. Ghostbusters.
Either one or the one below it. They're
man.
So let's go check out this guy's.
I don't know if you want to switch the OBS.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see which one. I don't know.
Sort by viewed.
Most popular?
Yeah.
I don't know that Danny California one. Oh, Darude Sandstorm.
Okay.
Jesus. Yeah. Are we okay with this, guys?
Yeah,
okay.
That's pretty classic.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So Darude Sandstorm. Let's Dylan, you got to check this. I don't know. I don't know how these guys do this. Yeah, we're gonna get copyright strikes so bad.
This is free pub. They owe us for publicizing this.
Yeah, congratulations, Mr. Solid Snake. You've been featured on the Perfect Zeros podcast.
We should mention we don't own the rights to this. So this is
I don't know how they reproduce it. It's got to be speed based.
I think it's based on how fast the motor's going.
Huh.
This is so amazing.
This is amazing. I wonder how. What I don't know. They would have to probably reorchestrate this so that because obviously there's 8 floppy drives, right?
How are they controlling them?
It's probably
They
just
got-
programmed.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're using like a Raspberry Pi or something, but
But
I think
doesn't
they've added like cymbals and bass drumming to it. I don't
Yeah.
think.
I don't know if you could reproduce that with those types of motors. Yeah, but I think it's like relatively amazing that.
Well, it's interesting because they're they're not reproducing sound with any of the circuitry. It's a strictly mechanical noise.
Yeah, yeah.
Like chiptune music, they're actually using the circuitry to
What is love?
as a synthesizer. But yeah, this is done mechanically, so that's I hadn't heard of this before. It's pretty interesting.
I think the craziest part is that these mechanical drives were so loud, and we put up with this shit for like fucking forever.
Yeah, but it's all relative. You wouldn't. You
Oh, yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
know any different. back
Oh yeah,
then.
yeah. You
Even
really
nowadays, like just mechanical hard drives are loud enough.
Oh
that
yeah.
you can. If you're,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's another guy that uses hard drives.
probably.
I might be making that up. Okay, I gotta look this up. Hard drive music. The Flopotron.
Flopotron.
Toto by Africa.
Oh God! But we gotta watch that. We gotta
Okay.
watch that.
Okay. Let me see here. Oh yeah,
wow.
there
Yeah,
he
this
goes.
one, yep.
Yeah, there he goes. Oh, I hear it. It's not as pronounced as the other ones.
No, but it's
Yeah, there's all the code running
Yeah.
for it.
This guy's just been scouring Goodwills for years to assemble all this shit.
Oh Jesus.
pretty impressive.
It's okay. Oh, I wish the music was probably a little bit more recognizable. I think that'd probably be a little bit better.
Wow.
Yeah, but there you go. Dylan, you're picking up floppy drives over at the local
No,
Goodwill now?
I don't have room for the gear I have now. Much less, geez, that's quite a space investment right there.
Yeah.
It's impressive though. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think I feel bad that I don't have that much ambition.
It kind of reminds me. I used to have this hobby called circuit bending, where you open up old electronic toys and you take a couple of probes, basically.
You run different voltages through them.
Well, what you do is you essentially short the circuit board. You make connections on the board that don't normally have it, and you can find new sounds, or you can find ways to like pitch bend these things.
You're talking about those those speaking things?
Yeah, people do them very. One of the more popular ones that I've seen that people like to do are the old speaking spells. And speaking masters. You can do like pitch bends on them and all kinds of cool stuff. Just by soldering a couple of wires on there and adding a potentiometer or a push button or something like that. But you can do it with pretty much any noise making toy you can find out there. I've seen circuit bent Furbies.
Those things are creepy enough as it is. This is like, man, we don't need to see any more of those.
But yeah, I used to have a lot of fun with that. But that's another one that it takes up a bit of space. But I used to scour the Goodwills and the thrift stores for crappy old electronic toys like that. Anything that was battery operated, pretty much you could do it safely.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's possible to do it with higher end stuff, but then you start to you increase the danger factor pretty significantly when you're messing with like capacitors and stuff like that.
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, Zach. So I see that you've been reading a lot of comics. Now this is a guy that I see at work during lunch, headphones on, no fucks given. I mean, fucking comic book splayed out, proudly reading it, not trying to hide it behind like anything at all. Just straight up.
You ever noticed he never actually turns the page though? Did you pick up on that?
That's where I just keep my Wall Street Journal reports inside a comic book. I don't want to seem like
Looking
I'm
at
a
the
hoity-toity man. I want to
You're a
at least
yuppie.
be
Yeah,
appreciated for being a nerd.
So anything that you've been reading that's been particularly good?
So I actually just banged out the second adaptation of the Eternals, which was written by Neil Gaiman. So it was originally written by Jack Kirby and was his kind of like, he's really into theology as a whole, or he was when he was alive, of course. But so it was interesting seeing Neil Gaiman jump in and take over it. And so I was really just inspired by like, oh, movies coming out. I had read it as like probably a 13-year-old and I remembered 0%.
Yeah.
But it's interesting stuff because it's like the creation myth for the Marvel Universe. And so it is really loosely tied to really anything besides like Iron Man shows up briefly, but that I found really interesting because it's going to be, this is even next to like Guardians of the Galaxy. This is going to be one no one's ready for.
So explain what the Eternals is, because we have, I mean, in the Marvel universe, we have like Celestials. Those are not Eternals.
No.
The Eternals are their own wholly, completely thing.
Eternals are creations of the Celestials. So
okay,
I shame on me because I haven't actually read the Kirby version. So I've only read this kind of adaptation.
Version,
So essentially, kind of the concept is the Celestials had kind of created the Earth as kind of their little sandbox to play around with life creation, and so they've created the Eternals, who are like a immortal, super powered beings that are kind of there to kind of protect the well-being of the Earth. And this is like millions of years ago, like proto-humans are starting to show up, I think, as a consequence of the biology they created.
That sounds like the gods underneath gods. Okay.
Very much tiered out. And so the other thing that the Celestials have done is created, they're called deviants, which are just kind of like genetic anomalies of like...
Are they freaks of nature?
Kind of freaks of nature. A lot of
do they usually end up being the villains? And
so that's what's interesting is it plays around with that because it's kind of like they treat them like an invasive species that is kind of their populations get out of control and start to upset the balance that they kind of set up. So the Celestials essentially raised them as a food source. Ooh. So there's been multiple visits of the Celestials to Earth. So the first time they show up and they see all this life, they get out of there. And then they come back and then they just feast on all these deviants as their food source. And what happens during that is one Celestial gets a conscience about, creating life just to destroy it. And the rest of the Celestials aren't into it. So it's a golden one who they paint black and then bury inside the Earth as his like perpetual tomb. And so the deviants are trying to wake him up, assuming that he's going to come back and wreck
help
shop
him out.
and be like, hey, you guys woke me up and I stood up for you. So we're going to rule essentially the universe from here. So the shtick is that the Eternals have all been betrayed by one of their members, who's a kid named Sprite, who is a perpetually 11-year-old kid who doesn't have the same level of power as everybody else. He's kind of there to almost be like the chronicler of the Eternals. And so he gets sick of his like designated role and decides to essentially mind wipe everybody and make them essentially kind of relive reincarnation style life after life after life.
Oh, okay.
And
the cycle. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, and meanwhile, they kind of keep them off their backs while the deviants can go and try and awake their god. And so they essentially, it's kind of the process of watching all these immortal beings regain the memories from their millions of years old and then go and try and find more and wake more up to try and prevent this Celestial being awoken. So it's going to be heady. It's going to be really interesting seeing how this plays out on the big screen, because this is like real big philosophy type stuff.
So the arc that you're reading in the comic book is obviously going to be different than the one that is going to be portrayed on the screen.
I believe so.
Not that we know exactly what's going to be happening in the movie, but what do you think is going to be happening in the movie?
So that's a good question, because we've seen the Celestials. I believe they showed up first time in Guardians. Where you see them with the Power Stones.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like
Stan Lee. I think Stan Lee was hanging out with them.
Those are the Watchers.
Oh, my goodness.
The Watchers are another immortal race that are there just to document everything that happens.
Okay.
And they always show up for big things. So the Celestials, so if you remember, there's a point where the Collector is explaining to everybody what the Power Gem is.
Yeah.
And he's kind of showing them on a little view screen or whatever. There's like the purple giants that show up and just raise cities.
Yeah.
Those are the Celestials. That's the only time we've seen them.
Okay.
So what's interesting, so I would anticipate that it'll probably be a little bit scaled back, that they're probably not going to go as big as like
universe ending or
cataclysmic destruction on the line. I think it's going to be a little more tied to maybe even Europe, because the big thing I saw is that Kit Harington is the Black Knight. and he is not connected to the Eternals in the comics at all. So his concept is that he's like from a long line of swordsmen who have this cursed blade that I believe is called the Ebon blade.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see how he gets tied in. I'm kind of hoping that they kind of tie in the Marvel UK world, Captain Britain and some of the like Excalibur, his like X team. So I think this could actually be the first place where mutants start to get pulled in. That's my Hail Mary prediction on this one. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I have a feeling that's gonna kind of end up trying to tie some of the.
You should have just said the Game of Thrones guy. David Jon Snow. You would have said
there's multiple because Richard Madden
that's true.
is going to play Icarus, who's kind of the captain. Well, no, he's kind of the leader, the spiritual leader of the team.
Yeah.
Does this lore address like the multiverse thing at all?
So,
because isn't that like a thing?
Because
we're getting
Doctor Strange is kind of doing that too. Spider-Man's kind of dipped into it already.
Yep.
As far as I would guess no.
Okay.
I'm guessing it's probably just going to like set up the the Marvel creation myth and just leave it at that. But you never know. I mean, like clearly they're not scared about playing around on this multiverse stuff.
Right.
Which can't wait for this Raimi stuff.
Oh,
man.
with Doctor
if that
Strange
doesn't work
too?
out, seriously, I'm gonna be so disappointed. I can't be teased like this.
I'm just kind of concerned that Raimi's gonna make it kind of campier than the original Doctor Strange was.
I think
we can all agree as long as it doesn't turn into Spider-Man 3.
Don't you have a soft spot for Spider-Man 3?
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I want to set myself up now as saying I'm not going to defend it as a movie, but I will say that 85% of that movie I still enjoy.
I still enjoy a good part of it, but there's the one or two like really shitty,
dance scene?
campy. Yes,
Yeah,
that
the
is
dance
just
scene.
See, even
Oh,
the first walking down the street finger gun scene,
Yes.
that I still can totally get into. It's the
That-
jazz scene
I
that
mean,
I hate.
it's both of those scenes for me. I mean, it's like for me that's like cringe-worthy.
It is
stuff.
pretty cringeworthy. Yeah, I definitely think it is.
You know, and I mean, Spider-Man traditionally in the comics was kind of a campy guy to begin with, but
Totally.
I thought that was just a little over
I
the top.
I want to know who saw Topher Grace and they were like, "Yo, this guy fits Eddie Brock."
You know, oh yeah,
The
right.
musclehead photographer.
Yeah, the musclehead photographer, and they got Eric Foreman to play as Venom, and you're just like, I don't know about this one, guys, but I mean, you know, they gave him a muscle suit and he looks good. You know, he looked good in it. You know,
I did like. I always forget that actor's name. I'm so ashamed of myself. But the guy that played Sandman,
Thomas Hayden
Yes,
Church.
Thomas Hayden Church.
because he is just awesome.
Tombstone.
And like, what a great casting for that character.
Yeah.
I thought.
I just like that Sandman's character in that movie wasn't like a black and white character.
No.
Like,
He had layers.
He did.
And so that was Raimi's plan originally. Venom wasn't part of his planned out universe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was foisted upon him by
they just
Sony.
threw it in. Yeah,
They were like, "Hey, what do the kids love? They love Venom.
They love Venom."
And Raimi himself has said, like, I've never read anything about Venom. Like, he's a '60s Spider-Man. He's like the Stan Lee era, and I think you can see it all over those movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you like everything about that movie that doesn't have anything to do with Venom, like Harry becoming the Goblin and the Sandman being the guy who ultimately killed Uncle Ben. Like, a lot of that I think really worked for me. I don't know. It's simpler. It's like not what you expect out of the third installment.
I'm with you. I don't. I guess I should probably retract a little bit and not completely hate on Spider-Man 3. I just it's just those two scenes.
You're warming the cockles of my heart right now.
Yeah, it's pretty much just those two scenes. I mean, the rest of the movie is definitely entertaining.
But it's funny how that can, like, a movie can go off the rails that fast. Like, you can go from like, this is all right, I'm digging this, to like, oh boy, well, I hate this now.
For my wife, it's any movie that the dog dies. So yeah, if the dog dies, she's not gonna watch it.
She doesn't like that My Dog Skip.
So I haven't been able to watch John Wick or
that's a shame.
or most of the Mad Max movies.
Yeah. Jeez.
So what I'm trying to look up here is there was some new footage shot on set of Carnage, Woody Harrelson's Cletus.
You mean Raggedy Andy?
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, Cletus Cassidy. They had one in which there was like obviously no special effects or anything like that, but I want to say it was Tom Hardy that shot it on his phone or something like that, and it was just Woody Harrelson with his mop head hair and his arms spread out, and then like police shooting at him. I'm gonna see if I can try to find this.
Cool.
I guess it would just be like under Venom 2. Venom 2 set.
Yeah, I haven't even seen these. This is blowing my mind.
Yeah. So this was kind of.
So what I wonder if this is going to follow the Maximum Carnage storyline, which is kind of skips forward past, Carnage being kind of the son of the Venom symbiote, but it kind of ties in a gigantic chunk of the Marvel universe, like the Spideyverse. Like Cloak and Dagger, Iron Fist and Deathlock show up as a duo.
I would really like to see. I don't know if it's if it would be too premature, but I'd like to see like Toxin. I don't know those guys. Okay, so I think these are probably it. I'm not gonna share it with you guys at home, so you guys can kind of listen to it. Is that Tom Hardy just yelling at somebody down? Take the other stairs. I ordered from DoorDash 2 hours ago. What? Okay, so this was definitely not the one that I was looking for.
I don't even know what's
That was
going
pretty.
on.
Yeah, there's just I have no
Wild
idea what's
speculation.
going on. Yeah, Tom Hardy didn't seem too proud of there.
The main conflict of this movie is someone's car alarm is going to be going off at the wee hours of the morning. And
Yeah.
they're screaming at him.
Okay, so this is the one that I saw. Okay, so we're gonna go with this one. So there's Cletus Cassidy. His hair got shorter, right?
Oh yeah, he was rocking like straight up.
Yeah, mop head.
near carrot
Yeah.
top levels
Raggedy
of
Andy.
long red hair.
Yeah, Raggedy Andy. Sorry, Tyler, I keep switching to you.
Well, no, that's fine.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about Woody Harrelson being Carnage.
I don't know, man. Woody Harrelson, I think, is a pretty damn good actor.
Yeah.
I think they should have got the guy who played Rorschach to play.
Jackie Earl Haley.
Yeah. That dude's pretty fucking creepy.
My thought is that I feel like Natural Born Killers is going to kind of be the road.
That's kind of what
the
I was
roadmap for
thinking
that.
too.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Because at this point, who also knows? I think this is probably released post the Morbius movie, which seems to be what's going to tie the Sinister
Right.
Six back into the Sony universe.
Is that like a hard pull for Sony to kind of claim back the Spider-Man?
So if I understand it, after that little kerfuffle with Disney Sony, they I think they agreed there's going to be one more Spider-Man
movie.
appearance in the MCU at least.
beyond Far From Home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Or actually two appearances, one in a just general Marvel movie, and then one in a
Spider-Man
finish
movie.
his trilogy up.
Okay.
But so what I think more is it's going to be more pulling a few of those Spideyverse MCU characters into their universe.
Oh, I guess I could see that.
Which I'm not too mad about. Sony has made pretty bad movies. I like Venom, even though Venom made a ton of
Into the
money.
Spider-Verse was really
It's great.
good.
It is great.
Yeah,
I will give you that.
That's
Yes.
a great movie.
But so Venom, I started off hating and then grew into it more and more and more as I went on.
Ironically.
I lost track of what it was halfway through, but the scene where he's eating tater tots out of the trash,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I think they're going for something different than what I expected, but
Yeah.
now I'm starting to get into it. Once the
Yeah.
tater tot scene hit, I was like, okay.
So in the original comic books and even in the cartoon show and nearly any other portrayal of Venom, Eddie Brock and the symbiote is acting as like one mind. Like they're
refer to
not
themselves as
yeah. And how do you feel about Sony's direction of like, oh, we're kind of keeping them as two separate characters?
I think there's a little bit of precedent for that. The thing
is there?
Yeah. The thing
Ultimate?
Well, Ultimate's the Ultimate Venom is a little different because it bounces. Like Venom is who kills Gwen Stacy in the Ultimate universe. Okay. So it's kind of off the road.
Spoilers.
It's kind of that Venom is more of a use up people and move on to the next host.
Yeah.
Rather than someone turns into the Venom you and I are used to.
Yeah.
But so I mean, because even when the symbiote goes to Flash, they've kind of changed its origin from being just kind of a parasite to like. It's from this race called the Clintar, which are like universal protectors, and they bind themselves to a worthy knight.
Yeah.
And this is one that was tainted by Eddie Brock's alcoholism and rage. And so then Flash Thompson gets it post his legs getting blown off in Iraq, and then kind of like his own struggle with alcoholism is what helps the symbiote cure his alcoholism that he inherited from Eddie. And it spends a while there where he's a space knight running around fighting with like a panda in space.
What? Dude.
Yeah, it was one of those
ridiculous.
It's awesome though. Yeah. It's I truly liked it because that was a series that was like oil painted.
Yeah,
and that's not very common in the comic game with these big spread out paintings. But it's
I bet you there's a lot of double pagers.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
big old spreads. So. Yeah, it's one of those things where the it's really I think going to be up to the writer directors to see how they want to go with it because you can use it as just as easily for kind of a substance abuse allegory.
Oh yeah,
just as you can with a struggling with mental illness or really there's a million different ways it can go. So I think it's like what story they want to tell.
Yeah, because I mean the symbiotes have been portrayed as like super bad.
Yep.
And then they're whenever they became an alien race, which is I assume what Sony's going down the rabbit hole with. What is that? In the Ultimate universe, he was the cure for cancer.
Yep.
Right.
So this is where Anti-Venom gets involved, which is like the color swapped Venom that Flash becomes for a while too, where it's like he is the cure for not only Venom like symbiotes as a whole, but also for disease. You can like suck disease
all
out
diseases.
of people.
Yeah.
I think it gets a little. They go a little too far with it, I think, in the comics world. Because like even right now, what they're publishing, there's like a symbiote god. Like the planet the symbiotes come is actually a giant symbiote prison to keep this like elder god called Null trapped.
Yeah.
And so there's this big event called Carnage Unleashed that I think is just finishing up in Marvel, where there's like an interdimensional god who's tied to a lot of the bigger Marvel universe stuff. That it's like Eddie has got this special, like his tie with the symbiote is the most pure of anybody who's ever
like they bonded the best. Yeah.
So they really like
they went down a deep ass rabbit hole. Yeah,
every
Jesus
little drop.
Christ. Okay.
So we'll see. I would almost prefer they throw it all away canon wise and just do something interesting.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Man, how did we get here? Sam Raimi?
I think from his comics, yeah.
Okay.
But if I could even circle back around, there's an indie comic I'd want to plug too that I've been really enjoying. It's called Farmhand, and it's by this dude named Rob Gilroy, who is based out of Louisiana, and it's semi-autobiographical, from what I understand. But the concept is this dude's dad was visited by an alien that gave him kind of like implanted a vision in his head to learn how to genetically kind of like modify plants so that they grow human replacement limbs.
Oh.
And so he has this giant farm that's like government protected where he's like growing eyeballs and arms and
livers,
legs and
kidneys,
livers off trees. Yeah. And then it turns out that it's like a alien invasion plot to like get all these alien limbs on people so they can
control
like phantom
them later?
limb and take over. And there's like a plant-based hive mind.
Yeah.
But it's all based around this like wayward I left the farm because I hate farming guy who became a comic artist, and he comes back and gets involved in this giant conspiracy that's taking over this town.
Well,
it's really fun.
I'd want off the farm too if I was running the risk of being assimilated.
But so yeah, it's really interesting because they kind of tie it all into, it's kind of like a parable about farming practices and contamination of water sources, and so like a lot of animals drink the contaminated water, and then they're like growing limbs out of their faces and attacking the townspeople, and it kind of strikes a really nice balance between comedy and kind of really hard sci-fi weird concepts. So it's one I would definitely recommend. I don't know who's all picking up comics.
What's it called again?
Farmhand by Rob Guillory.
I guess I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's pretty rad.
What is your main source of comic books?
So these days, the library. There was once upon a time, I actually was going to the comic shop and spending probably like $80 a week. Yeah. Easy.
Wow. I remember those days.
Comics.
Yeah.
And so that stopped when I moved because I was spending like $300 a month on new comics. But so I am now a library / like Marvel Unlimited DC Universe reader. So that kind of sets you back about 6 months from newly published stuff. But so that's kind of the way I go now. I do a lot of deep diving through the back issues. I try and keep up with like contemporary stuff. But you can read, if you don't mind being 6 months behind, you can spend like $30 a month and read everything that came out on stands.
Do they have like alternate forms of comics where it's like, and forgive me if this makes me sound like, oh, I need moving pictures, but do they have like some moving pictures in the comics?
Motion comics are not
motion
uncommon.
Comics. Yeah.
So that is something that they play around with here and there. It really, I don't think, hasn't risen above gimmick status yet.
Okay.
But the thing with comics is it's mired in that speculator world where it's more about manufactured scarcity, where all these dumb variant covers are kind of what drive collectability.
It's Pokemon cards.
It's Pokemon cards. It's very similar.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting field where it's stuff for children that is mainly consumed by adults. Yeah. And so that's why I think it's a world that they need to keep a little bit of that publishing, but got to go to a subscription site. Like Netflix for comics would make so much sense.
I mean, isn't that what Marvel Unlimited and
it's kind of the itch they scratch at. They're still not getting to the point where people are actually picking up new comics because like what 10-year-old has $4 a pop, and it's going to get to 5 soon. That's what a 22 issue or 22 page issue comic book will run.
And you're talking about front to back as well. So right. I mean, I remember comic books not being thick at all, unless you got like one of those compendiums or something like that. But
and they kind of keep sacrificing quality on the paper stock and the inking and the printing itself and the binding. And so I really think there's back in the 40s, kids would go to the newsstand and you would be slinging 2-3 million copies of some crummy comic that is just an offshoot story.
It was a nickel.
Yeah, it was a nickel. But even then, I mean, it was like, it's gotten to a point now where it hasn't kept up to the distribution methods. It's still very much mired in the kind of old school printing world.
Well, print as a medium just in general is kind of on the way out.
Yeah, it's kind of on the way out.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think they kind of need to keep that for your 50-year-old men who are speculating and because it's funny, the most valuable comic. This is why I really kind of fell out of love with the idea of being a comic collector. The most valuable comic I owned was a series called Batman Damned, which came out it's called prestige format, so it's kind of like a magazine size, and it was written by a guy named Brian Azzarello, and the artist was Lee Bermejo, who's known kind of for their realism. And it's famous because it's the first appearance of Batman's penis. First time you see the bat-a-wang.
Does it have wings?
No, but that thing has its elbow. I swear, man. It's like he's hung like a moose. But so essentially, the controversy here is Batman. You see Batman's penis, and then they apparently had never meant to actually show it to you. It's supposed to be way more shadowed in the coloring because it's kind of a factory line where it's inked and penciled, and then someone colors it. Yeah. So apparently there was an issue, and I think this is bullshit. I think they knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah. But so the first print version, you could see everything, and then they said, we're not going to reprint this ever. All digital copies of the comic
have been censored.
So there was only like 50,000 copies of this comic that had like the Bat-a-Wang in it.
How much is it worth?
So when I got rid of it, you would see a new copy going for $300 and it was retailed at $600. And that was like literally the day it came out. And so,
but everybody already knew that,
but
before it even came out.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It was going to be one of those things where unless you got it pulled by your shop, you weren't going to be able to go buy it. Yeah. And so I remember that being like, I can't go tell grandma about it. Like, grandma, I got this really valuable comic. You see Batman's dick. Really was hard to like justify that as a
pun intended.
Pun fully intended.
Yes. So I think it's one of those things that I think they could really serve themselves better. If you really want like kids out there reading it, you need to have some sort of Netflix.
Digital, just a digital platform.
Exactly.
I think that would be pretty easy for me to do. unfortunately, like I read a lot of manga. I know you probably don't. None of you guys read manga, but
I've been pushed closer and closer to the precipice of diving in. I'm just scared, man. I already read so many comics. It's like you'll never see me again.
Yeah. Manga gets pretty deep, and it's like I don't know. Some of the series have been running like the same storyline by the same artist. It's been running for like 15, 20 years.
Well, that longevity is what actually impresses me more, because you don't see a run of comics lasting more than 24 issues before they're renumbering and going back with a new creative team. Yeah. So it's something that actually really appeals to me, is have some continuity.
Except, I mean, I think like one of the guy who did like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, Akira Toriyama, like they burned the shit out of that dude. I mean, he was doing it for like 25 years straight, like day in and day out, and they're expected to push out a new chapter every week. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think he got stretched pretty hard for a really long time. But yeah, I always like seeing new interpretations of like, old superheroes and stuff like that. New creative teams. So pretty much it for comics.
If I think of something else, I'll bring it up.
So Tyler, one of the things that I really wanted to ask you about was your Raspberry Pi projects.
Sure.
Because of the fact that you're running a Minecraft server.
I was. Okay. So
did you shut it down?
I didn't intend to.
No.
So I had the Raspberry Pi 4, which is the like newer one, and it's a little bit more powerful. It's actually a fair amount more powerful than the previous version. And I had been running a Minecraft server. I'd also been running Pi-hole, which is like ad blocking for your whole network. So instead of like,
were you using Cloudflare as a DNS?
I don't remember who I was using.
0000.
I think it was 1111 or 1001, which I don't think is Cloud. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know.
It's one of the more popular ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so I was having that. I was running the Minecraft, the Pi-hole, and what else do I have on here? Pi VPN. Oh, I had Pi VPN, so then I could VPN
back into your house,
into my house to get the network ad blocking when I was like on my phone outside of my house.
Sweet. Yeah.
So
that how was cool. The ping on that?
Not too bad. Again, I have a fiber connection, so not too bad. It's mostly limited by my network's upload, because that becomes your download. Yeah. So if
you had a big file, you were restricted to whatever your house, what you could upload from your house.
Right, but for just like browsing the internet or playing a game or something, and not having ads pop up, it's great. But my SD card died.
So is that essentially like your hard drive for your Raspberry Pi?
Yes. So they don't have their own flash memory, or they don't have their own memory, so you just use like an SD card. And I want to say the Minecraft server does a lot of writes.
Yeah. So you probably burned out the flash memory on that.
I think I burned out the flash memory on the SD card. So I
Are you saying I lost my house?
Everything's gone. I tried to get it all back. I seriously tried for forever, because like it's Linux, so it's a different file type. You can't just like pop it into Windows and get the files back. So, and then I just haven't reinstalled those yet, because it's just been like all of that, came crashing down. It's like, I just don't want to deal with it. So I haven't got it started back up, but I had that going. And then I also had Magic Mirror, which, so I don't know if you guys have seen those, like, they're kind of like a one-way mirror glass, but there's like a display behind it, and you have like a clock or your weather or whatever. And I didn't have like the mirror part of it, but I just had it on a monitor. So I had like our calendar, the next couple days weather, my now playing of Spotify. So if I had my Spotify playing on my speakers through like a Google Chromecast audio, I get to see like the time bar and everything.
How difficult was that to set up?
Really, like that was out of the things that I've set up. That one was pretty damn easy.
Oh, damn.
But
does it automatically pick up like the resolution and everything like that
of your monitor?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, that was actually pretty easy. So if you've got a spare monitor and you wanted to do something like that,
just plug it in through HDMI and you're good to go.
Yeah, you have to set up some modules, and then it's like really customizable, so you can like change the clock size and the position of all these different basically widgets. So that was all really cool. But I want to say, I can't remember what happened with that one, but that one like also crapped out. So I bought like better quality SD cards. And I just
SanDisk?
That or Samsung.
Samsung's pretty good.
I don't remember, but so I haven't reinstalled it since like the couple weeks ago when I wrote those notes.
But, does Alex know that he lost his house as well?
He hasn't brought it up, so I'm assuming no. But
Dude, I mean, yeah. If my brother's watching this, he's probably like, planning to kill us now.
I apologize. I tried. I know there was a lot of people that was still playing it. Had put a lot of work into what they created on there. So I was incredibly bummed myself. I lost it all too. So,
I assume Deanna was on there as well. She kind of
had
helped you, a little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
was she pretty bummed out whenever you told her, "Oh, we lost the Minecraft server"?
I think she was more bummed and like that the network-wide ad blocking had gone. Like she noticed it on her phone. She's like, "Why am I seeing ads again?" Because when I first installed it, she like didn't even notice it that much. It's like, "Oh yeah, I guess the ads are gone. Cool, or whatever." But then when they came back,
it's very noticeable.
It's just like, these are obnoxious.
Oh yeah,
especially because it solves a little bit of that, like, the little page loads, you need to click something, but as you're going to click it, it shifts, and then you're like, "Oh, I didn't want to click that."
Those fucking little X's on the screen are like the worst. Like they're
so bad.
The
little blue
hitbox,
X's.
Yeah, the hitbox on like where you're supposed to tap that exactly. It's like if you tap like 2 pixels out of it, you're going to that where that ad was pointing.
Which it's already 2 pixels by 2
pixels. Yeah.
Yep.
Seriously, it's just like, oh man, who decided to take away stylus from us, right?
Mm-hmm.
My phone has a stylus.
You have a Note?
I have a Note
10, right?
No, I have
9?
a Note 8.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
My phone's getting up there.
But
it does everything I need it to do. So
no. I think. I mean, if we're gonna go down the route of cell phones here, I think having a couple-year-old cell phone is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I've never had any problem with it. I find with a lot of gear, it's always mystified me about when people want the cutting edge, brand new piece of equipment, and then they don't even use half of the features that are available on it anyway. So
I mean, I get it. I am one of those types of peoples where that always like to have the leading edge stuff. But whenever I do upgrade, I am not as happy as if I had waited like a few years, and then you realize the quality of life improvements. As somebody who like upgrades on a yearly basis, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, there's one new feature. And then next year, oh yeah, there's one new feature. But Chow, she upgrades like every 2 or 3 years, and like whenever
then it's a big jump.
It's a big jump. Like she's like, whoa, that camera looks really good.
It was like that for me actually when I upgraded to this Note 8. Like that was one thing I noticed right away.
What were you at before the Note 8?
Sorry, what did I have?
Josh was doing
the mic. I know.
What did I have before? I don't even remember what I had.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but yeah, it was a pretty significant like.
Oh yeah.
Or no. I do know what I had. I had a
Note 5?
No, I had an iPhone 6, 7.
Yeah, that's a huge upgrade.
So yeah, it was a huge jump, and that was
the screen size.
Yeah, the screen size, and I finally just gotten used to carrying this thing in my pocket because it's. At what point do we start calling them tablets?
It's a phablet, I believe.
It's a phablet. Yeah, it's a phablet. Yeah. Tyler was talking about like smartwatches and stuff in the last episode. Like, how do you guys feel about that?
I'm wearing one.
Is that a fitness band or a smartwatch?
Okay, I guess it's a fitness band.
Zach?
I mean, it
has some kind of connectivity to your phone or something.
Yeah,
right?
It connects to my phone. It's got a step counter and all that crap on it, and it gives me alerts on my wrist.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's kind of a combo of the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It does the couple of things that I wanted it for. So
right.
Yeah, I would say I think it would be more of a novelty for what I would use it for. Mm-hmm. I'm already a pretty like hands off the phone type of guy, like really. So I use a Motorola G7 Power. A little shout out to my boys at Motorola.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wait, can you pull it out right now?
Yeah. It's so
hold it up to your camera.
Here it is. It's a nice little piece of tech. It's called the Power because it's got like a 6,000 or 7,000 milliamp hour battery. And so it's very strapped down in its camera quality and its display quality. But what's nice about it is it's $250.
Oh yeah,
super stripped down, just
unlocked.
So that you can throw that bad boy on airplane mode and it'll sit for 5 days before you need to charge it.
Yeah.
Because really, like, me like combining the smartphone and the iPod was really the last time I was really like, smartphones are the future, man. So I could combine my like just get one device out of my pocket.
Yeah.
So since then, like I don't take too many pictures of myself or my surroundings so much. So that's kind of sacrifice I can really make. And what I really like about Motorola is they're really good about keeping the bloatware off the machine. They're very I think they're progressive when it comes to that kind of thing. It's like, hey, we're gonna give you. They still have the annoying. It's all tied to Google, and like you can't even use it without a Google account. But,
Android's Android,
But I mean, it's got upgradable storage. You can just throw a micro SD card in there.
Nice.
Still got a headphone jack. You know, it's like I am fully aware that I am very old school in my device use. But to link that back to the smartwatches, so I think there's the novelty of like the Dick Tracy communicator watch.
That's what I want.
That's
all I want.
That's about as cool as I think it is. So it's like someday I could get there.
Yeah.
But that it's still like, to me, it would probably be a boondoggle.
I'll be perfectly honest. I bought a shitty Chinese knockoff off of Wish, and
is it not a Fitbit?
No.
It's a Witfit.
Yeah. But again, I mean, it does everything I need it to do. I haven't had any problems with it, so you know, it was worth every penny of that like $12 I paid for it.
Right.
Have you guys ever seen that video of what is that, the Wish distribution center?
No,
I don't think so.
Jeez, let
It's
me.
about to be some dystopian nightmare.
No, I don't know
if you're sensitive to, you know, slave children for, you know,
they got the nets installed for the jumpers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not gonna show this to the stream, but I just wanted you guys to see this.
Oh dear God.
Wow.
This is their sorting. The
guy climbing on it
Oh my lord.
No way.
Dylan, you contributed to this.
I know.
One of your terms of employment is giving up a unique name in favor of a barcode.
Number. Yeah.
Jesus, but look at this place.
Oh my lord.
I mean, they said it's from like, you know, after like the Black Friday or
that's our rampant consumerism.
Yeah, consumerism
at its finest.
So Dylan and Tyler, both of you guys have Samsung phones, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, there was like this weird message that got sent out. Did you guys get it?
I didn't see it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I saw it all over my tech news and stuff.
It's like a
I
Find
didn't
My
see
Phone
it.
alert, right?
Yeah.
And
I don't know if it was only S10s or like the 10
Oh,
series
like the
or
newer
old.
ones? Yeah.
Oh, I think I did hear a blurb about that, but yeah, I don't really know anything about it.
Yeah. Supposedly there was like a notification that popped up that was just like a number 1.
Right.
Yeah, but you none of you guys saw it?
If I did, I just dismissed it.
swiped
along.
it away?
Yeah. I just,
It's like, who the fuck is that?
It does not sound familiar.
It's Two's brother. Okay.
The only other thing I know we talked about last time. Do you guys know about the Surface Duo, the new Microsoft? So like this is a Microsoft Surface. Surface is making a phone that's a foldable phone.
Yes, I have heard about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped for that.
How do you like the Microsoft hardware?
I like it. I've been pretty happy with this. Is like the lower end in that it's got like an M3 processor, and this is like a Surface Pro 4 or something. It's fairly old,
and it's Windows 10 proper, not like Windows RT or anything like
yes,
that.
it is full on Windows, so it's got all that going for it, which is the reason I got it, because like I wanted like a tablety light sort of thing, but I wanted to be able to have a keyboard. I wanted to be able to run Steam on it or whatever. And so it works really, really great for that. I haven't had any complaints or issues, but I also I'm not on the cutting edge of it. It's pretty old. I got a low end model. I'm mostly just interested in like the novelty of the
folding screens,
folding phone,
folding separate screens,
but that it can go all the way around, and you can still treat it like a single phone. You can like fully 180 it, or 360, whatever. But yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys had heard that news, but
I don't know.
I saw videos of people already starting to do like trick videos of opening their phones. Like a flip phone.
You're talking
is
about
now
like
a
the
novelty
Razer,
again.
the Razer Z Flip. Or am I thinking about the Samsung Z Flip? I don't
Samsung's
remember.
also got like a folding.
Yeah,
phone.
they have another folding phone,
but it's like pencil spinning. 2.0, you know, it's like guys like doing tricks. I was like, man, are there gonna be like 10-year-old
the old Zippo lighter?
Exactly, exactly.
But I mean, those phones are like $1,500, right? Like that. Yeah. That's not something I want to try.
And they go about 100 flips before they explode.
But yeah,
that reminds me of the like there was an app that was like, how high can you throw your phone?
Are you kidding me?
Do you remember that? Like, that was like a thing in high school.
I think I do remember that. And
I'm just waiting for the day when Futurama's prediction comes about and the new iPhone is implanted in your eye.
Oh yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe no, I'm gonna say it. It's in our lifetime. We're gonna start implanting electronics.
Yeah, I don't think it's too far off. They're already experimenting actually with I think with people's like chipping people's brains.
How does that work?
I don't know. I honestly haven't really read up on it. I remember seeing something about it. I might even be making this up too. I don't know. But I remember seeing something about it and going, dear God, that's just too fucked up.
What, you don't want your teeth implanted bone conduction headphones?
I don't know. That's not a bad idea. Dude, I would be down. Like if you could put a chip in my head and I'm just forever in the holodeck. Like, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to the advantages of it, but I also wonder about the safety factor of having somebody monkeying around with your brain like that.
Right, your brain needs a pushed software update, and it just has these bugs that didn't get pushed through.
You
and
get
now
blue screen of death. You're just drooling there.
Your liver function falls by 70% to the new patch.
See, and this is all these points are great points, but these are all assuming that your body doesn't reject it from the get-go.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm okay with that. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna let a whole bunch of other people try it first, but
the Onion did an article several years ago.
Oh God,
about,
the Onion.
About the greatest cybernetic implants that you'll be able to get in the 21st century, and I'm really holding out for that George forearm grill.
That's pretty funny.
That would be life changing.
Okay, so let's see here. So this is from the first. I don't know. Zach, did you want to talk about any of these?
Well, shoot, I don't want to belabor any points that have been made prior.
So we kind of didn't go through this. I
guess if I could just even say something about the world of movies right now as it is, because I feel like I've heard that drum beat of like this. It's all just sequels and remakes, and
sequelitis.
But also this year, I think I went and saw more dope original
films
properties than I've seen in years.
Yeah.
I think there was like a month or two where every week I was seeing, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, The Lighthouse, Parasite. It's like one of those things where it's like that definitely gives me a warm fuzzy that, like, as much as everyone wants to complain about the creative bankruptcy of kind of Hollywood,
there's also a lot of great original IPs.
The flip side of that is, as long as we keep watching them, they're going to keep shitting them out.
Yeah,
so I mean, we got nobody to
true.
blame but ourselves.
Yeah. I think it's gonna take some really, really, really talented people in order to create some new IPs that really blow everybody away. And
I wonder how much of that is a lack of creativity in filmmakers as it is the studio's agenda and what the studio's forcing on these creative minds.
I mean, they're looking at what was successful, right?
And you can't. I mean, you almost can't even blame the studio because they're in business to make money. What's going to make money? Well, this made money before.
I mean, they see the return. Yeah, they see the return on their investment on Avengers, and they're like, "Oh shit, we'll finance that one at a flip of a hat." You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, and you look at through the history of cinema. I mean, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. I mean, you'd go to see the latest, Flash Gordon or Lone Ranger, Zorro.
John Wayne.
It was a lot of westerns and games.
It was all franchises, and people are acting like they have no idea how this system is set up. It's like this is how Hollywood has always existed.
I've been on kind of a western kick lately.
What have you watched recently?
I watched the remake of True Grit again because I just
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges.
Oh, that's a great. That was a great
Coen Brothers.
Coen Brothers. Yeah.
I just watched this Ethan Hawke film called The Kid, in which Ethan Hawke plays Pat Garrett. It
cool.
also features Billy the Kid, but the main character in the story arc actually is not around Billy the Kid. It's around this other kid who ends up shooting his father while his father's in the middle of essentially attempting to murder his mother.
Does he take on is that Dane DeHaan?
I don't recall what the kid's name is, but so him and his sister end up going on the run from their uncle, dad's brother, who's trying to hunt them down and kill them.
Interesting.
But it was
And that ties in with Pat Garrett.
Yeah, because they get to a point where they hide in a
this guy was in the movie, right?
Yes, he was Billy the Kid.
Yeah,
he was really good.
Yeah,
really good Billy the Kid. But he was kind of a supporting character too. It didn't really feature about him. Pat Garrett featured pretty prominently in it. But yeah, this kid kind of keeps having to go back and forth between, do I trust Billy the Kid? Do I trust the lawman?
Yeah, I think I saw a trailer for that. Yeah,
it was really good. I liked it a lot. And then I actually just last night I watched at one of our coworkers' recommendation. You guys know Scott.
Yeah, yeah.
Scott had recommended a John Wayne film to me called The Shootist.
Yep.
And that was I'd never seen it before. I can't believe I'd never heard of that movie before because it was like a big deal movie for the time. I think it
circa 40s, 50s,
70s.
Yeah,
70s.
I believe.
I don't know how old John Wayne is.
Yeah, same.
I think it was his last or one of his last movies, and I was reading a little bit about it, and they when they had originally announced that they were going to make this movie, I guess Hollywood was just a Twitter with people trying to get parts in his movie because everybody was like, well,
he was a big shot.
This is going to be it. This is going to be the last film the Duke makes.
Yeah.
And from what I read, it sounds like John Wayne pretty much handpicked the cast himself. He got Jimmy Stewart to play the doctor in that movie, which according to from Jimmy Stewart's own mouth, he said the only reason he agreed to do the movie was because John Wayne had asked him to. Lauren Bacall was in it. Ron Howard.
So what's The Shootist about?
So it's about this famous lawman cowboy he's very well known nationwide. It's kind of it takes place at like the kind of the tail end of the Wild West. It's 1901, I believe, was the year it was set. But he comes back to Carson City to see an old friend of his, the doctor, because he had gotten some bad news from a doctor in another town, and he wanted a second opinion. Well, he gets a second opinion. He's dying of terminal cancer, and so he's come back to live out his remaining days in Carson City. He takes up room in this widow's house, played by Lauren Bacall, and her son Ron Howard, and it's him kind of just trying to be a good person,
for the
rest of his days, and then Ron Howard's kind of smitten with him because he finds out who he is and about his reputation. Well, then
he wants to challenge him.
He doesn't want to challenge him, but he wants to kind of follow in his footsteps.
Oh, I got you.
And so John Wayne kind of starts to kind of mentor and take him under his wing and steer him actually away from the cowboy lifestyle. Yeah. And then consequently, once news gets out that he's got terminal cancer, every gunfighter that wants to make a name for themselves comes looking for him and is trying to kill him before he dies of cancer, so that they can be the one that that has the reputation. Of
The Shootist. Okay.
Yeah,
scale of 1 to 10.
I'll give it an 8.
Wow, that's a pretty good score.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was really well done. It was mid 70s is when the movie was made, so you got to take the time period into perspective. And and it's a Western, but it's not. I don't think it's your traditional John Wayne spaghetti Western style movie. I thought it was really well done. There was a lot of good heart in the movie. It really wasn't a shoot 'em up movie either. It was definitely very
a lot more character study.
Yeah, it was very story centric and character centric.
Yeah, that sounds very much kind of like True Grit, and like in that it's like evolving characters.
Another John Wayne movie.
Yeah, yep, yeah, the original True Grit.
Good old Roaster Cogburn.
Yeah.
Good old Rooster.
Okay, all right. Let me see here.
Yeah, he made a comedic sequel to that movie too, called Rooster Cogburn.
Oh, that is under
comedic?
my radar.
Yeah, well, it's like an action comedy, but
okay.
It was him and Katharine Hepburn.
Ooh,
how immediate is that, Tyler? Like
it's
whenever
pretty quick.
Oh, is it?
It's like I'll click.
So I did. Speaking of movies, I did want to check in on a few DC movies things.
Yep.
If y'all don't mind, because
No,
am I still
absolutely.
the lone viewer of Birds of Prey in the room?
Yeah,
You are. I wanted to. I guess the only thing that I want to say first is, how do you feel about them adding to the name?
Gosh,
Because
marketing is such an interesting.
you and I
field,
had a
isn't it?
conversation about the Birds of Prey
Mhm.
and us saying maybe it has something to do with the title, and then immediately the next day we heard that that theaters were like changing the name to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. Yeah, and then so like the inclusion of Harley Quinn probably gives it a little bit more exposure.
Yeah, well, and that's what I think is so interesting about it is like I think this movie suffers from a kind of like a collage of problems that led to it not being as
Yeah.
popular because like the critics are more than fine with it, and,
Yeah,
and just having
yeah.
seen it, I found it kind of a breath of fresh air from where DC had been a little bit. I didn't, I found the humor to be kind of hit or miss, and it owed a lot to Deadpool and the or kind of fourth wall breaking self-referential stuff, but it's not the same kind of movie that DC's been making. It's almost entirely devoid of superpowers. Really, the only superpowers they play with are Black Canaries, like Sonic Scream.
Yep.
And even that is used as kind of like the big climax, not to spoiler too much, but
Okay.
like a lot of things lead up to just powers being used one time, and it's like the type of thing that it wipes, like she's done. Like she's out of the movie after she uses her powers one time.
Okay.
So what I kind of, because my big beef with the DC universe probably up to this point, set aside the tone, set aside the kind of the way they depict all these beloved characters, but really the way they incorporated the superpowers into their universe, I always found to be the biggest part I struggled with, because like every fight scene with Superman level people is just, I'm going to punch you, you're going to skid across the room, you'll get into your like slide for you to go back and punch the guy across the world. What was nice about this one is it's all street level Gotham stuff. And so
Very down to earth.
Yep. It very much set the kind of tone for what the criminal underworld of Gotham is like, which was a kind of nice to see that there is like a really healthy, non-superpowered criminal syndicate going on. And so it was nice kind of seeing them scale things down to a story. And like the characters are all pretty rushed because they're introducing a lot of people no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, Rosie Perez is playing a character, Renee Montoya, who is the second inheritor of a persona called the Question.
Rosie Montoya, is she Alita? Battle Angel? Alita?
No. Rosie Perez is y'all seen White Men Can't Jump?
Yeah.
Oh,
she's the girlfriend from White
okay,
Men
okay.
Can't Jump.
Jeez,
She was real big in the 90s.
Yeah. Still looks great, by the way. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
But so she's it's characters of that level of caliber. So this is I would say like similar to Guardians, where it's like no one's got kind of the innate, even like you ask grandma about Batman, she's at least somewhat familiar with Batman. But like the Question, that one started off of an obscure character that was essentially based as like a mouthpiece for objectivist political theory, and then it kind of like morphed into 3 iterations of the character later.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a pissed off cop against the system, and so I think they did a lot better job of like kind of giving you a character study for a lot of different people. So I found it really interesting in that sense. So it actually really got me stoked for Batman, because it's saying, okay, like you can have a DC story that doesn't involve these giant, like borderline
huge,
theological discussions.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what really bummed me out about Superman in particular. The way they went with it is Superman as a Christ figure, I think, is such a swing and a miss on what the kind of philosophical point behind Superman is. And so it's really nice seeing them kind of realize like, hey, you're gonna have so much to gain by going under where Marvel is and just playing in the muck and like looking at these characters that aren't super powered, have kind of realistic problems, and it's like a diamond heist is essentially kind of the big thing tying it all together. So it's scaled down, and I actually really liked it. So it'll be interesting.
How much of a callback or how many mentions of the Suicide Squad do they do in that movie? Like does Will Smith make like a small cameo?
Nada, next to nothing.
Is Harley Quinn the only Suicide Squatter there?
Yeah, and I think the implication from Suicide Squad is that is the not Jason Todd, or maybe it is Jason Todd. My DC knowledge is a little iffy, but so it was implied in the Suicide Squad and Batman versus Superman that Harley Quinn was the one who killed that killed Robin. And you're seeing the bat.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's all stuff that's from like the kind of extended edition that they had to cut out. But you see that suit of armor in Batman versus Superman.
It says ha ha ha
Exactly.
all over it. Yeah.
I
So-
thought that was maybe like a callback to the Killing Joke or something.
No,
like
so
that.
this is a callback to a kind of a famous comics moment where the Joker kidnapped Robin and beat him to death with a crowbar.
Yeah.
And so like the implication there was that Harley was involved in that, and that's why Batman was like beating the shit out of her, like punching this woman in the
shit.
face with
Yeah.
like not holding back at all.
Yeah.
And so they had to character rehab that because I think that's wiped. Like I'm not sure where they're gonna go with Bat-Pat. I think I'm ready to let myself down, and there's gonna be no Robin again. I think I'm in the minority where I like Robin more than Batman by a pretty huge margin.
Which one? Dick Grayson?
Dick Grayson.
Or Jason?
I don't mind the new Robins, but it's all about Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
My boy Dick is a really obnoxious omission from the larger DC
I
universe.
love Nightwing. Like
Dude.
Nightwing is probably one of the coolest DC characters ever.
And think about it. That's like the one superhero trope that everyone's scared to explore is the sidekick. Because I think there's something really interesting to be played with there about a character kind of coming into their own and realizing that maybe my mentor isn't the best person to be kind of taking my cues from.
he realizes, I don't agree with your methods. I don't agree with what you're doing. And he goes on his own and he does just as good.
And it's a take on like looking at like the tragedy that shapes Batman's life. Dick Grayson's life is equally shaped.
I was going to say it'd be a really interesting thing for them to do with the films too. I mean, with the last two iterations of Batman, he's not been his own biggest fan.
Right.
He's well aware of all his flaws. And I mean, I think that'd be a good way to kind of tie that back together. Is like, oh geez, I couldn't even mentor this kid,
right?
Who am I to be going out and making these decisions about what's right and wrong?
Exactly, and that's what I think is going to be. I'm hoping. I mean, and this is my problem with being like comic book movies in general. Is I'm just too guilty of bringing what I want to the theater every time.
Yeah,
I always feel like I got everything figured out. Like I know what would be best, and I always leave disappointed because they're always like focusing on something different.
Speaking of Batman, we saw these set photo pics. Obviously, this isn't Robert Pattinson, so this is some sort of a stunt double.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that doesn't look like Pattinson.
that jawline is not Pattinson. But what do you think about the bike? What do you think about the armor? The lack of a cape and the ears. I mean, look at the bat cycle here.
Ooh.
I mean.
So I mean,
it looks. I will say his bike looks a little more realistic than some of the vehicles we've been seeing in the more recent
what
movies.
was that? The Tumbler.
The Tumbler.
Yeah. This looks a little more believable for a guy who does this as a hobby.
I like that you made that observation. You have any other ideas, Zach? Tyler?
Here's what I like: is there's bat wings on the bike.
You're
Like,
talking about
wings
the
or the ears?
The ears?
The ears, sorry, bat ears. So I mean, like that's the kind of thing that I'm hoping. I hope they go a little more campy with it. I don't want them to go full Batman 66, but like play up the fact that this is a guy who's got a really messed up way of dealing with the fact that his parents were shot.
Yeah, let's keep the nipples off his suit.
And so I think the nipples have stayed off of his suit.
Oh, thank God. Yep, doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
See, I like that suit. I mean, it looks more like, something somebody had cobbled together out of bits and pieces of body armor. I don't know. I mean, these first couple of photos I've seen, it looks a little more like
More realistic.
I hate to say it, but yeah, realistic.
Yeah. So the school of thought here is that this is probably Batman Year Zero. This is whenever he just got back. Yeah,
I was wondering about the time frame of this too, just because
the dude's super young who's playing him, and so this is the shit that he's just kind of cobbled together. It's he hasn't perfected his skill yet. He's he first goes out with like, essentially Daredevil. He has like a bandana on, kind of covers him.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this costume, and I mean, like those pouches on his belt. I mean, that's military surplus
that's just
stuff.
general.
And look at those gloves. I mean, you and I can go get a pair of those gloves.
They're MX gloves,
Yeah, right. That's really all they are. Is like like motocross gloves.
Yeah.
So this makes me wonder too. Is what I'm hoping for more than anything out of this? Actually, I guess there's two things. One is more detective stuff. I think they've never really played it up as much.
haven't.
I'd like to see more detective
But
stuff.
two,
Agreed.
I want more Bruce Wayne time, and I want to show kind of the struggle of keeping up the appearances of being Bruce Wayne, and especially because Zorro is such a big kind of thematic inspiration.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like Don Diego de Luna, if that's his name, and I'm sure I got that wrong, but he plays this kind of dopey idiot character when he's at his alter ego, and then when he becomes Zorro is when he's like really himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that there's going to be a little bit more of he's got to keep up this I'm a dummy playboy to throw everyone off the scent, and maybe tie that into my suit isn't as nice because I got forensic accountants looking through the books trying to make sure we're not defrauding the government, and like they could as easily discover like I'm setting aside all this slush fund to be Batman. I mean, I gotta cobble it together.
Yeah, so I mean, other than like, unlike the way that Christian Bale was portrayed as Batman, where it's just like, oh, we have this trillions of dollars into defense spending and nobody's gonna notice if it all disappears.
Exactly. Except for one guy.
One guy.
And they have access to all the communication networks for the whole city.
Yeah. So this is a picture of Batman Year Zero, and as you can see, it looks like a cobbled together military surplus. He's
on a dirt bike.
He's essentially on a dirt bike. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of, I think this is where the inspiration for the new movie's coming from. They're just retelling the story. Do you guys feel like they're going to try and tie it in with the Joker movie at all?
No, it can't be. It can't be.
You don't think so?
No, because like there's I mean, they've been pretty upfront about the fact that Joker universe is its own thing, right? That was my understanding.
That was my understanding. I haven't seen the movie, but that was my understanding as well.
I just don't think you could turn that Joker into like a criminal mastermind from where it went. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I thought the takeaway I had from that movie is more that like they explain how he could have all these followers completely without
mindlessly following
actually
him.
Trying to make it so. It's just all of a sudden everyone's worshiping the ground he's walking on, and he's just kind of rolling with the punches. So you know what? I'd be fine if we don't see the Joker fight Batman at all with this iteration. Fight the mob. He hasn't dealt with the mob since Batman '89.
Yeah, but don't you? I'm pretty sure they're like, hey, let's make a Joker too.
Yeah, and go for it. I think just keep it separate.
Oh, okay. I was afraid that they were probably going to try to tie in Year Zero Batman with maybe a little bit of Joker in there somewhere.
Well, wouldn't that also say, I mean, like if he's harassing young Bruce Wayne, then that Joker's going to be like mid-60s.
Yeah, he's going to be hella old. Yeah, he's going to be hella old.
And they could give him some like immortality serum or some crap and make it believable. But
I don't know if they go down the Red Hood route.
It's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. No. Tyler's like,
and they could do
Red Hood?
They could do it Batman Beyond style.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
So while we're still on movies, so my big excitement is it has come to light that this fall Mad Max 5 begins filming. Ooh. So yes, it's happening.
Dylan like fisted that into the podcast so hard.
I can't help it. I'm super excited.
Tell us how big of a Mad Max fan you are.
I guess I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to describe that. I mean,
can words even express this concept?
Yeah.
It's something I grew up with, so I have a bit of a nostalgia thing for
Dylan
it.
told me about his plan to get a second mortgage to purchase the what is it?
Car?
The car. What's it called? The Interceptor.
Yeah, my wife shot that one.
Jesus
she would
Christ.
love if I had the car, but she's not keen on me, mortgaging the house again to get it. So I think that's gonna have to be maybe on the 10-year plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they've announced officially, and they've gotten the go ahead from Warner Brothers, from what I've read, and George Miller has said officially that they intend to start filming this fall. He's working on another movie right now with Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba. I believe it's more of a drama. It's called 3,000 Years of Longing. I don't know much about it other than those two people are in it, and that's his current project.
I gotta check that one out. Yeah.
But yeah, so the working title of the new one is The Wasteland.
Okay.
So I'm guessing probably Tom Hardy's going to be back.
Charlize Theron.
I don't know because I'm going to say
I kind of
I'm going to say probably not because I believe this is supposed to be a prequel to Fury Road.
Okay.
So it will probably not feature her, although he has said that he has another sequel potentially in the works called Furiosa.
That's what I was wondering about as well.
She has said officially too that she would reprise the role
Furiosa.
Again, but she has also said that if she's going to, Miller needs to hurry up because neither one of them is getting any younger. But yeah, so I'm pretty stoked for.
Yeah, I mean, Charlize Theron's plenty busy. She's. I think I've seen. I swear she just pops up in.
She was in
almost
Bombshell.
random,
She was in Atomic
Blonde, Fast and the Furious.
What was
8
the name?
and 9?
What was that comedy she just did with Seth
Rogen?
Long Shot.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
That was really funny, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe I'm just a sick person. Is that a Judd Apatow joint?
It'd be safe to
feels
assume
like it.
Yeah,
It really
borrows
feels
from that
like
world
it.
of comedy. But
yeah, it's definitely got that same feel. But yeah, that movie was hilarious. I thought.
No, I'm looking forward to the next Mad Max, and I like Tom Hardy.
I think he's been doing a good job.
Yeah,
doing a good job with it. He's good with the dark.
Well, he's
kind of characters.
He's good at looking angry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and he's good at sharing the screen. I mean, that was I think the best part of Fury Road is the fact that you're not zeroed in on his story.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard both positives and negatives about this, but Fury Road was very very in line with the Road Warrior.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of parallels there. But one of the things that I thought was done really well in Fury Road that I liked about the Road Warrior is that the story doesn't center around Max.
Totally.
He's a support role.
Yeah,
I mean, it's his movie, but
yeah. It has Mad Max on the title, but
but it's not his story, and the Road Warrior was very much about that. It was about the people in the in the camp that are trying to escape from this gang of murderers.
Yeah, I mean, I like the world that they crafted in Fury Road.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dylan, what do you make of the fan theory that the little feral kid from the Road Warrior grew up into the Mad Max of the Fury Road universe?
It's an interesting theory, but from what I understand, all of that kind of stuff has been pretty much disavowed, and that the Fury Road universe is not
the same.
It's not the same. It's a completely different take.
Max.
It's
a
different
really?
Max. It's a different take. It's Fury Road is, I mean, other than having a Mad Max character, has nothing to do, I guess.
I guess I kind of always considered it similar to a Bond, where it's like, it's like a code, like not code name, but you kind of loosely assume it's the same guy.
I've always kind of looked at these movies, even before Fury Road ever came out, as the original Max being the only one that could be considered fact or factual or having actually happened, and that the subsequent films were kind of modern myth. There's probably some aspects of it that were real, but like the Road Warrior, for instance, it's the way that movie is set up is this is the feral kid is telling you the story as he's laying on his deathbed, and it's a verbal retelling, so it's all subject to how he remembers.
Could be some embellishment.
And the same with the third one too. You're so far down the path of post-apocalypse that these are oral traditions, and probably the only thing that you could determine for sure is that there at some point had been a guy named Max that
all of these stories
came
about.
So it's more of a legend than anything.
It's Homer's The Odyssey. Yeah. That's what I figured. That's the way I feel about it, Matt.
On the same note of movies, I know we didn't talk about it, but it was in episode 1's show notes, the Mulan trailer.
Oh,
Opinions
yeah.
on that? Have people all seen that?
I think it looks pretty interesting. It looks like it's going to be pretty good. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It looks really good. I'm actually really stoked about the cast. I mean, I was really scared that they were gonna cast like a white girl to play as Mulan. But you know, they got Jason Scott Lee in there. They got the girl from the Forbidden Kingdom. I think she's a perfect Mulan. They even got Donnie Yen. Am I mistaken in thinking they got Jet Li? I think he plays
I'm
as
not
like the
sure.
emperor.
My finger's real off the pulse on this, apparently. This is all news to me.
Really? Oh, okay. Should we watch it real quick?
I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've certainly been a little nonplussed, I would say, by all these live action adaptations of these, but maybe this will be the one that finally pushes me over the limit.
This one I think looks really good.
2 weeks ago or 2 months ago? Which one
I've seen the 2 months ago one. I actually haven't seen the 2 weeks ago one.
Oh, okay. So let's. They also introduced like Li Gong
mystical
as
stuff.
Yet here I stand, proof that there is a place for people like us.
And it's a beautiful looking movie. I think
threatens our plans.
A warrior.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually
Thank God
really.
they kept Tom Cruise out of this one. But yeah, I think it looks really good.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it. I think they did a really, really great job with it. I mean, you know, if you take Disney's pedigree and you watch like the Forbidden Kingdom, like they actually did a really faithful adaptation of like Chinese style cinema, and I expect the same quality here. So
possible moron question here. I'm guessing no musical aspect to this, right?
I mean, there's some
There's gonna be
themes
some Donny Osmond
in
songs in here.
the trailer that definitely were like playing on the original Disney Mulan theme.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to.
Yeah, this looks a little more serious though.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
it
going to be a
does.
lot of song and dance in it.
No,
But
I mean,
but
yeah.
the way that Disney's been kind of retelling their 2D animated films into live action, they pretty much just like translated it scene per scene. This
Yeah,
one definitely doesn't look like it. This is a little bit further.
I don't
It's-
know.
it's
I thought there was a bit of variation when they
Maleficent.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay.
With the Jungle Book. Although
Yeah,
I guess
but,
that did parallel the.
I
guess it
don't. I
did.
don't think that was Disney.
Oh, I guess I
Yeah,
don't know. that.
That's the Favreau adaptation, right?
Yeah, I
Oh.
think that was a Netflix one, right?
No.
Because
No,
because
I
they
don't
did
think
one
so.
that I don't know why these two movies came out so damn close to each other, but like one was like the Jungle Book and then one was like a dark retelling Mowgli.
That was the one that was directed by Andy Serkis.
Yeah. So that one's Andy Serkis, and then there was one by Jon Favreau, and they came out literally like 6 to 8
well
months.
then I saw the Favreau one. I think I don't think
Well,
I've
was there
seen-
singing and dancing?
Yeah,
That's
they
the
had-
Favreau
Favreau.
one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think the Mowgli is closer to the Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah,
novel.
yeah. And so like I don't know, like yeah, that one's kind of weird because the Jungle Book or the character Mowgli and stuff like that, it comes from I think Hindu or Hindi culture, like one of their old tales and
right.
stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was like
Yeah.
you said, it's from Kipling's old
Yeah.
work.
And so I think there's a little bit difference there, but then obviously Jon Favreau's Jungle Book was based off of the Disney interpretation of it.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, so I don't know how they're gonna do this one, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I am definitely a fan of the Mulan music. Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. I mean that was the shit. Back
Yeah,
in
maybe
the
they
day,
should
bro.
throw an
You have,
Eminem song.
you have the voice of an angel.
Oh.
By the way.
Yeah, but have you guys ever heard the Jackie Chan rendition of it? So whenever they brought Mulan over to the Chinese market, they had Jackie Chan do that song.
Fascinating.
Because he's Mr. China.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'll let you guys make a judgment. Chan, Mulan. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, that looks all right. Okay, so we're not going to show you guys the video. We'll just let you listen to the audio. Yeah, but I mean, Jackie Chan is so passionate whenever he sings. It's kind of cringy.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Because did you guys know that he's a recording artist in
Yeah,
China?
he's like
as well?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like I said, he is like Mr. China.
Did you guys also know Jackie Chan's kind of a piece of shit?
I
did.
Okay.
I had heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the Mulan. This is okay. We'll
more
stop it
music
there.
videos should take cues from that. If there was more like bow staffs,
Oh yeah,
music would be better.
No, I like what is that, like the triple image thing?
Yeah.
It's like that thing that you used to do whenever they would take like your kindergarten picture or something like that, and there's like a picture of you looking all serious,
Disembodied
and then,
face.
Yeah, and then there's one in the back looking back down at yourself. So,
Give me that Sears portrait aesthetic.
yeah. But I mean, I if they bring that song back in a decent way, like not ham-fisted in there, I'd be more than happy to see that. Yeah. I wonder if what is that little dragon that Eddie Murphy played? Shoo.
Oof.
I don't remember the character's name.
Yeah, but
Definitely had a Happy Meal toy with that
I
dragon.
definitely Szechuan sauce. Jesus. But yeah, I mean, if they bring him back, I wonder how they would do him and
Mushu.
Mushu, yeah, Mushu.
Mushu. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's not.
It's gonna be Kevin Hart for sure.
That would make the most
be
sense.
the logical
actually.
person
Yeah,
to put in
that's unless they just straight up brought back Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah, I'd be
Eddie
fine
Murphy's
with either
coming
one.
back for like Hollywood's like balls right now, dude.
Oh yeah,
Beverly Hills Cop 4 and Coming to America 2.
Yeah.
After Dolomite Is My Name, like he's like.
So did you watch Dolomite Is My Name?
Yeah.
So I watched the original.
You watched Dolomite?
Dolomite, like way back when, right? And I remember people making fun of it, and I remember watching it. I didn't think that was that big of a deal, and then I watched that movie without remembering about Dolomite. And then at the end, whenever they re-showed like the original footage from Dolomite, I was like, I remember that movie. Jeez.
I mean, anytime a character is speaking in rhyme before he whoops ass,
Oh.
like that is just an aesthetic that I can really get behind. But so, yeah, I mean, I actually had something, speaking of all Chinese filmmaking that I wanted to talk about to bring it back to Marvel is how much do you guys know about Shang-Chi? And the planned movie that they're going to be doing.
The 10 Rings?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm really intrigued by the concept of this movie because I think it's going to be different. I mean, because the original comic character is based off of Fu Manchu. Because Marvel apparently had the rights to Fu Manchu. Because that was
so
just
weird.
like a pulp.
Yeah.
It's like a pulp
Yeah.
property that was created in the 30s as just a straight up like
the
yellow scare propaganda. Like Chinese menace must be controlled.
How did like Marvel come into contact with that IP like at all?
So it's actually from the 70s when Marvel was actually struggling in the publishing game because like the 60s they were in charge of the world because like they came out with Fantastic Four, Hulk, Spider-Man, X-Men, the Hulk all in like 3 years with two guys in a room coming up with this stuff. And so by the 70s, things had slowed down. They're looking for properties to pick up. So that's where Luke Cage came from. He was like, hey, blaxploitation is huge. We're going to have a blaxploitation character.
Isn't that where also Doctor Strange came up?
Doctor Strange, I believe he's a Ditko, a Steve Ditko creation.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he did after he left Spider-Man.
Okay.
So he predates that a little bit. But so then there's Iron Fist was kind of the one of the kung fu characters that was really based off the Bruce Lee craze. But then the other character they did that with is Shang-Chi. And so the concept for the comics was he is kind of the enforcer for Fu Manchu. He's like out there unknowingly kind of doing the bidding of Fu Manchu, enforcing he had, and
Yeah.
his final straw is when his father asks him to kill somebody, because he has like a very strong Buddhist Buddhist learnings. He follows like his teachings very strongly. And so that is kind of the breaking point when he realizes, oh, I think I might be a bad guy, and decides to leave. And then he links up with MI6 and runs around with James Bond.
What?
Yeah, it's really rad. But and what's really interesting about it, so this is 70s era Marvel, and you go back and you read Marvel from the 60s and 70s, you're gonna cringe pretty hard at the racial insensitivity.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's one of those things where like they're progressive in some areas. Like Peter Parker went to an integrated school in the early 60s, which is pretty controversial in a lot of ways.
I mean, all Marvel's kind of based off of some political and
the original
social,
SJWs.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, X-Men and the civil rights movement. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because
I was about to say the Civil War.
I heard it almost come out. Yeah.
And so what I'm intrigued about is, and so a big kind of central theme of the Shang-Chi comics was kind of cultural assimilation.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who has a non-violent, or at least anti-killing kind of perspective on the world, and he's running around with James Bond, who's just killing people,
sleeping with women left and right,
and he's very racist. They let the racial slurs fly.
Yeah.
And so I'm very intrigued to see how much of that they're going to borrow, because the difference is they don't own the rights to Fu Manchu anymore, so now it's the Mandarin. So we all famously remember in Iron Man 3 how the Mandarin turned out to be like a red herring type of thing. Yeah. But so who contracted him originally is going to probably show up and ultimately take the spot of that Fu Manchu character.
I mean, even whenever Shang-Chi originally came out as a comic book in like the 70s, he was half white, half Asian.
Yes, he does have a white mother.
Yeah, like they were like, no, we can't let a full Asian.
We can't make him straight Asian.
Yeah.
Hey, they knew their audience. They weren't dealing with that shit.
Do you think they're gonna do that with the new movie, or do you?
I think there's probably gonna be some strength to a person who's a member of both worlds, but not a true full member of either.
Yeah.
Because I think that's kind of one of his big things, is he just doesn't belong anywhere.
Yeah.
But really, kind of what I'm intrigued to see is kind of the politics surrounding the CCP. And kind of how they want portrayal of China, because really, the ultimate thing is like combating the kind of imperialist movings of the Chinese government back in the 70s. And so now,
you think Marvel's going to bow down to that?
I don't know if they're going to bow down. I mean, it's one of those things where I think it's just like the story content is like, are they going to talk? Are they going to make it very political? Are they going to avoid things? It's one of those ones where it's like, he's one of my favorite comic book characters, because I think it's someone taking a big swing at some difficult topics.
Yep.
And I'm afraid that if it's just going to be a cookie cutter story, it might be very disappointing. So I'm really intrigued to kind of see where they go with it ultimately, because they don't, I mean, it's like with Mulan, I mean, that's the big thing, is there's so many pro CCP actors in that movie, and that's a problem for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And so if is Marvel going to be a faithful to the comics and tell stories that the CCP might not even allow to be screened in their country? Are they going to kind of use the global revenue as a kind of driving force for the creativity behind the movie? So I think it's going to be a really big thing for Marvel to kind of draw a line in the sand. The fact that they're owned by Disney makes me think they're not going to be very principled with that choice.
I would be very surprised.
I think at the beginning of the movie, whenever the movie starts off, you're going to see a logo that says 10-cent pictures, and you're going to know what you're getting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they'll just jump ahead and kind of skip the origin story and kind of
just go
and just have him running around.
I kind of wish they would just do that with superheroes now. Like I'm tired of having. How many times have we been told the SpiderMan origin story? How many times has Uncle Ben died?
Oh, same thing with Batman.
Yeah. How many times does his poor parents have to die?
Yeah.
This is probably. We've probably seen it like 2 times fully fleshed out, and then like they keep harkening back to it. Hell, even the Punisher.
God, how many times are we going to see that damn string of pearls get broken by the gun? It's like, God damn it.
Okay. Let me see. One of the things that I've been doing is I've been getting a shit ton of free games on the Epic Game Store. Like
I've been participating.
Have
too.
you?
I'm dialing myself back and making a point to not just grab it because it's free. Though I'm making sure I'm grabbing stuff that I actually have
want?
an interest in playing.
So did you see the latest one, which was like Assassin's Creed Syndicate? It's kind of a big game.
I've grabbed it. I haven't played it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did. I did grab
I
it.
never install any of those games.
Or you just get them and don't ever
yeah.
install
I think I'm
them.
up to like having. I think I have
I've,
like 30 games in my library on the Epic Game Store, and I think
Yeah, my
28 of them are free.
my entire library on Epic Game Store is free games. But I've gotten a couple of gems off of that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've got a platform, old school platformer called The Messenger that I've been
Yeah,
playing. I've been playing the hell out of that.
The Batman games, not to circle back, but they had like nearly all the Batman games for free at one point, and I'm talking about Arkham Asylum, Arkham City.
Okay, yeah, I must have.
Was there
I
a
must have missed
Telltale
that.
Batman?
There was, yeah. That one wasn't included.
Okay.
I'm sure because it was Telltale.
It's different. Yeah.
But I mean, they even had like the Lego Batman 1 and 2. I'm not sure if there was a 3, but I mean, they had all of those games.
So all the Warner Brothers,
Pretty much,
titles.
yeah. Yep. Which I know you're a fan of. What is that, like the Shadow of Mordor and
Yeah, like Shadow
yeah,
of Mordor.
yeah, those games, dude.
Mad Max was.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
spectacular.
Avalanche Studios. Shit, I forgot about
I'm
them.
actually circling back to the movie. I hope they come out with another supporting game too, because I thought that game was sick.
Yeah.
That was a PlayStation Plus game, and I
Yeah,
was
it
really
was free for
pleasantly surprised by it. I had a
yeah.
lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, but do you guys? Does anybody here have experience with the Epic Game Store other than Dylan?
I think I have like Subnautica in the Epic's Game Store, which I've played a little bit of.
That's such a weird game to have. Oh, was it free?
I
or-
think it was free or something, or it was
Oh.
like really cheap, and I got it for like $5.
Oh,
or
okay.
something,
I
but-
must have missed it. Do you guys have any issues dealing with the storefront on there? Like you don't know what to look for. You don't know how to look for things unless you know
I think-
specifically.
I think I'm on the Game Deals subreddit, and I
Yeah.
just saw
Yeah.
that, and so like I went there, I made an account,
Click.
I got Subnautica,
Yeah.
but it's not like I browsed the game store
Yeah,
otherwise.
I would say no because I'm literally going on seeing what they have for free. for
Yeah,
that
and then
time
that's
period,
it.
And that's
Yeah,
it.
and then that's
I
it.
haven't been actively browsing their store.
Do you think this is a good marketing technique for them to get people on their platform?
I mean, it got me to download their app and start getting games.
I mean,
but
it got Tyler for
the-
Subnautica.
the flip side is too, though, I haven't put forth the effort to go through their store either. I mean, I still use Steam regularly.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I honestly I couldn't even make a comparison between the
No.
two because I don't have enough experience with the Epic Store. I guess I'd be curious to look a little bit more though too and see how it
let me
see
know.
how
Yeah,
it
let me know what
compares
you
to
think.
Steam, because one of the things I like about Steam, is I wish list stuff, and then when it's got like an 80% discount,
It tells you.
I swoop it up.
Yeah, it tells you. Yeah, the Epic Game Store does not have a wish list.
I just
At least not that I remember.
not that I know. Of.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I don't know how the Epic Game Store could. I mean, people keep buying shit on Fortnite, so I guess it doesn't.
I was gonna say, was the Epic Game Store the one that got like the 6-month exclusivity for
Yeah.
Borderlands?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
So I think on that principle alone of like knowing that they're kind of
Oh, Red-
promoting that
Red
kind
Dead
of,
2
I think
as
Red
well,
Dead was also
yeah.
So like I'm gonna
exclusivity.
I'm gonna make sure I
Yeah.
don't go through that store as much as possible
Yeah.
because I don't want to promote that practice.
Yeah. I'm 100%. That's really anti-competitive,
Yeah.
anti-consumer. So, I can agree with that.
And this has got to be the image rehab because as a representative of the non-PC gamer console trash, I remember that being a thing. I just chuckled to myself as I walked home from GameStop with my hard copy for my PS4.
Jesus.
But so I like it's funny how that kind of I feel like that can't be a coincidence. Like, hey, we got all these free games.
Yeah.
Forget about that stuff, right?
So I mean, I had that as one of my notes for GameStop. Like, do you guys have nostalgia for GameStop? Like, whenever you guys were going up, did you and your buddies stop by GameStop and was like, let's go see what they got?
You got to remember my age. I'm a bit older than you guys. So GameStop kind of didn't really pop until I was,
Way past gaming?
Well, not fully past gaming, but I mean, I was at a point in my life where I wasn't gaming as much. I mean, late. It was like my late teens, early to mid 20s is when GameStop really took off.
That should have been.
So I used to go to back in my day, it was like, KB Toy Store.
Oh, I
There was,
remember KB.
There was a couple of, just one-off mom and pop places
I do miss
but
those.
we'd get the same kind of I think the same kind of excitement out of it, but they were
not GameStop.
They weren't GameStop, and these I and I'm probably being biased here because of the nostalgia factor, but these were stores that were like locally owned by people that were like hella into games, so it just I think had much more of that kind of experience, whereas like
GameStop feels so corporate.
It's very corporate. Like you go in there, I mean, you can go into any GameStop and you're probably going to find the same handful of collectibles, the same general titles, even in the stuff that they've bought back from people, because it's all, very researched on, okay, what can we sell? How much can we sell it for? Whereas some of these old ones from back when I was a kid, it was like, it was a guy that would just, he'd buy anything he could get his hands on because he loved video games and wanted to share that with everybody. So
I mean, what I'm hearing is kind of fuck GameStop, let them burn.
I mean, I won't miss them if they disappear.
Right.
I mean, but I also, I don't really console game that much anymore since I started PC gaming.
Yeah.
Just because I can get all the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to go to the store.
Yeah.
The digital distribution.
The digital distribution is huge for me.
Yeah.
Especially with the gaming. Like I have a PS4 and that thing just
collects dust.
It just collects dust.
No.
I should give it to my brother or something because I don't use it. Actually half the games that I have on it I now have
on PC.
Are in my Steam library.
Yep.
So the ironic part is that you're super into digital distribution as far as video games go, but your movie collection is pretty fucking huge. Like your physical movie collection. This is ironic.
I guess that's I don't know.
You're a bigger movie collector than
I can't even explain why that's different for me. I mean, I have done some of the, I do have a small-ish digital collection as well, but that's also that's probably half of those are ones that had the free digital copy with them. I've bought a few just digital on like Voodoo and Amazon and stuff like that, but I don't know, for whatever reason I like having I like the physical copy, and I think actually one of the things that's different about it for me is like if I buy a movie on Voodoo and I want to watch it, I have to have a solid internet connection.
Right.
Like I can't just download it and go. Like I can take a disc, I do a lot of, you guys know I do a lot of camping and stuff like that. My wife likes to travel too, so I don't always have access to that. But like the difference there is like Steam. If I have a game I'm playing and it's downloaded onto my laptop and I bring it with me, I don't have to be connected to the internet to keep playing that game. But I just they're so much more, they're very much more restrictive with copywriting and stuff like that when it comes to movies.
DRM sucks.
Right.
DRM sucks.
So it's
I
guess that's the biggest difference for me.
Do you feel like you go out of your way to, or you appreciate the, like, DVDs will have like bonus features and the commentary and all that stuff, and you don't really get that with streaming versions of movies?
Actually, it's funny you bring that up because you can get that with the streaming versions of the movies. A lot of them.
Do they still make those extra features and stuff?
Yeah.
Like,
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm missing out. Shit.
Yeah, like I said, because I've got a number of my digital versions of them that do have the bonus features, and it's interesting too because actually sometimes some of those features aren't on the discs features.
So you'd be missing out if you only were buying physical or whatever, potentially.
You could be. I mean, it's so hit or miss. And I mean, Voodoo's owned by Walmart, so they make partnerships. And
did they just shut that down recently though? Voodoo?
They shut down Movie Pass, whatever that thing was called.
Yeah,
that's different though.
I think there's conglomeration with that.
Ultraviolet
just went bye. And movies anywhere, I think is still. Is that still a thing? I think it's still around.
Okay.
But yeah, Voodoo's still going. I mean, like I said, they're owned by Walmart. They're not going anywhere.
I've gone full digital as far as like movies and video games. I mean, you can see my extensive wall over here, and it's got like a bunch of crap on it. But I mean, it's mostly decorative pieces now. Oh, I'm running out of space to put shit. So
Yeah, we are running out of space too. I've actually taken and
started boxing up shit.
well, we've put like all our discs into a big
Yeah,
disc case.
yeah.
And I've actually ripped most of them onto a hard drive
Yeah,
too, so I
yeah.
can just
Handbrake those
Yeah.
bad boys.
Yeah, handbrake it. Yeah.
but
Okay. Well, if you ever want to go down the route of like setting up your Plex server and stuff like that, like I can help you out with that. So, Zach's been enjoying mine.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Just right in here.
Yeah.
just mainline.
So this is another movie thing I wanted to make sure we didn't let slide by because just a little background about me. I never was much of a anime manga guy. Not for any particular like I dislike it, but more just I think a lot of my bandwidth was eaten up by being a comic book nerd.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big enough thing. But 2 has made more hay in pushing me towards with these recommendations for these live action anime adaptations. It's like the way to kind of I take my medicine and I'm slowly creeping towards like full blown diving in. But,
Okay. So Dylan, we're gonna make a list of recommendations for him. Ninja Scroll.
Oh, definitely Ninja Scroll.
Akira.
Yep.
Fist of the North Star.
Fist of the North Star. That's essentially Japanese ass Mad Max.
Yeah. That's a perfect description.
I've heard that Lone Wolf and Cub is another one to check out.
I have not seen that, but I have heard that is really good, and I think that's actually based off an old Japanese movie.
Black and white Akira Kurosawa movie.
Yeah, it was Kurosawa, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one's really good. There's a lot of really good ones out there.
Ghost in the Shell. If you haven't seen that, that's a beautiful movie.
It's beautiful. I wouldn't say the story's so great in that one.
I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
You are talking to a man who likes Spider-Man 3, so story I can usually set aside if it looks good.
I feel with Ghost in the Shell story, I feel like it's one like you have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely different than the live action one. It's really different.
I haven't seen the live
action. If you like what the Ghost in the Shell is, you might want to stay away from the live action one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But to that wit, I saw Ricky O, the story of Ricky.
Oh, Jesus.
At your recommendation.
Yes.
And golly, that hit me right where I live, man. That was dope. I really enjoyed it because not only did it kind of reach those absurd levels that I really like out of a B-level movie.
Okay, this is 8 minutes long. What should we do?
If we could just find the point either where the dog gets punted in half.
Ricky O in a nutshell.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes, right? Okay.
All the best scenes.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay.
What?
Oh,
I
really?
wish to proceed.
Samuel, you bastard!
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Well, okay.
You disrespect me? That's against the rules.
Oh God.
That guy.
He slaps the back of his head.
Like the birds go for it right off the bat. This guy he's the best one. The going for the garrote wire of your own intestines. and the X-ray punch way before Mortal Kombat.
Oh my.
Okay. Oh,
Jesus.
There you go.
Gets kicked in half.
Just dents the fuck out of his head.
oh my God.
Jesus. He punches.
Just so many punching right through people.
Even your dog gets a big steak. Not enough to eat. Right.
That's the warden.
He's gonna feed him his own.
He's gonna feed him his own.
Oh, he's got the inflation bullets,
Yeah.
like Live and Let Die.
Okay.
I just get down in there.
Oh.
Oh.
Hey, stop fighting!
Here, this is the best part.
Oh.
Just yeets him.
Here we go.
Nice.
You're all free now!
So I went in with 0% knowledge of what I was in for, and good gravy, man. I had so much fun watching this movie.
Jerry says that was the perfect thing to watch while eating spaghetti. Yeah. So you were watching a movie prior to that, and you said something about ultra gory practical special effects, and I said Ricky-O. It's the greatest movie of all time. Like, just watch that, and you were kind of like, blank slate. All right, I'm gonna take your advice on it. Take your recommendation on it. You're just gonna watch it. What was the first moment in which you were like, what the fuck?
Well, even like a guy getting messed up with like a wood planer, and that is like
just
5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, 2. I think you get me on a deep level, man. I think you know where I'm at.
Yeah.
But so what really, like, I think really like rung my bell about this is I kind of love the plot. It's to give you an idea. It's kind of think Escape from New York.
All right.
It's
I
a
like where
kind
that's
of
going.
post-apocalyptic,
Yeah.
not quite to a level where society's completely
Yeah,
falling
yeah.
apart, but they got prisons that are overcrowded to the point where they can't even staff them. They just lock them in, and it's
Sure.
like
Yeah.
let the hierarchy kind of go. And that's kind of one of the things, is the very outsider perspective I have on anime is kind of these, just there's always a bigger fish. And
Oh, yeah.
and there's always some boss of a gang. Like there's the enforcer, and then the enforcer's enforcer, and then the boss of the enforcers.
There's tiers of bad guys.
And there's always just some new guys
Yeah.
showing up. And so right off the bat, I'm like, okay, I'm in the headspace of Western movies where the first bad guy you see, I'm like, okay, this is the big bad.
This is the big bad.
You see him messing with people, like, okay, this is going to be the guy he's struggling against for the whole movie. And that's the guy who gets tripped with his face right onto the bed of nails that's in the prison for some reason. And I was just like, oh boy, I love this. and so I just love that trope of you just wait till the warden shows up, man.
Yeah.
That's the badass.
Well, that's the buildup, to
Yeah.
to that. Yeah.
It just had me, so it's like every single new guy who shows up just to get completely annihilated by this man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you saw, like, I didn't live tweet it, but I'm just texting you as I'm watching this. I'm just like, how can this continue to ratchet up? I can't even believe this.
It continues to go and go and go. I mean, I don't know. From the small snippet that you guys saw, what did you guys think?
I don't know what it is about it, but it's really making me want to go home and watch Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
And so here's my take on this: this is a movie that I would really enjoy seeing updated for today. I think remakes should be for movies that weren't so great.
I actually, another thing that comes to mind is I wish they could have done that when they decided to make a live action Fist of the North Star.
Have they made a live action Fist of the North Star?
Oh, it is like the most miserable piece
Is
of shit.
it?
I mean,
It should just be Ricky-O
It was just,
walking in the desert.
it's so bad.
Oh,
It's so bad.
no.
And this is coming from a guy that sat through the entire second Pirates of the Caribbean. So I think you can trust me when I say it's awful.
No, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Jesus. All right. Anything more about Riki-Oh?
I would just like to issue my deep felt gratitude for bringing that into my life.
You're welcome. Yeah.
It's a new level of completion I didn't know I could achieve.
Everybody needs more Riki-Oh.
Yes.
Everybody needs more Riki-Oh. And that guy's still around.
Yeah. He was in Ip Man.
Ip Man. He was in Kung Fu Killer.
He is a son of one of the original performers from the Shaw Brothers, who are kind of very famous Hong Kong Kung Fu filmmakers.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So there's such a cool genealogy to that I think is such an interesting kind of second angle to it as well.
Okay, so Zach, you're also pretty excited for Doom Eternal?
Oh, Doom.
So
you can I think the pattern is emerging. I like gory shit.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
But yeah, so Doom to me, because I grew up the son of he's like a systems architect programmer. And so I grew up in a very computer techy household. He was a very big gamer. I remember.
And you don't have a gaming PC? What the hell's the matter
exactly.
with you?
I'm a big disappointment to my family in many ways.
He's
I can
disowned you.
expound upon this, but so, that was Doom was one I always played as a kid. It was like I had such a sentimental soft spot for it. And when it came back in 2016, it's this level of gameplay being the only thing they put any work into. I mean, the story is there for you to pick up the collectibles and read through it if you want, but it just strips everything away to fun.
Yeah, run
movement-based
around,
run around, shoot
up.
shit, beat them up,
and you're not sitting behind cover. You're running around, and it's movement based. And
your character also runs at like 60 miles an hour.
Speaking of all that, I tried playing it.
Yeah.
I just got motion sick, like right into. I don't know if I need to change my field of view or something, but I couldn't handle it.
Were you
too fast.
were you playing it at like 144 hertz?
I was playing it on my TV. I was like game
streaming
streaming
so
it.
60.
So
Yeah,
probably
60.
60.
Yeah, I would recommend playing it at a higher frame rate.
That might help me. And like playing at a desk where I'm like closer to my screen probably helps too. But yeah, I was like legitimately getting sick, and I usually don't feel like I'm the kind of person that does that.
Game's fast,
like,
man.
fast.
It's so fast. So what are you looking forward most to as far as like Eternal's concerned?
So I think they, just from the things I typically try and kind of remain pretty ignorant of this kind of thing. I like to kind of just jump in and take it, because like Doom is to the point where I trust Bethesda and id Software enough to just buy it.
I don't agree with that one.
Bethesda's rough, but the first one was so good. But so the few things I've seen is the traversal differences.
Triple jump,
triple jump, the chain on the shotgun.
Yeah.
They got dodges and rolls now.
Wall running,
a little bit of wall running.
Yeah.
And so I think that because their whole thing is they talk about it like it's like kind of almost like chess-based combat.
Okay.
Where you're like you got to plan your run through these encounters.
So it's like Mirror's Edge, or what's it?
It's kind of Mirror's Edge.
Got a big vibe of that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm excited about, is like, the story stuff is still not what they don't care. I mean,
Who cares?
It's demons. It's
Who
demons
cares?
invading
Yeah.
Earth. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But all this effort being put into kind of the playability and the gameplay, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I want something I can pick up, play for a half hour or an hour, because that's about as much as I can play for a game session before I start to kind of like lose steam.
I feel you. Yeah.
And so to me, it's like one of those games that's so just dialed into that.
That quick experience.
You pick it up and you play.
Yeah,
You don't need to like sit through cutscenes. You don't need to worry about collectibles. You can go crazy with that if you want.
You can collect the little dudes. Yeah.
So I mean, that's the kind of thing that really has me like really excited for this new one. So I mean, I picked up Doom and I've been working to plat it before the new one comes out.
What system are you playing it on?
PlayStation 4.
Okay, Pro, non-pro.
No Pro.
Non-pro. Okay.
I've been waiting. Like Pro came out too close to PlayStation 5. It's like I'm just gonna wait. I can't do this because I bought my PS4 at pretty much right at launch. So I'm rocking like the original PlayStation.
Holy
I've upgraded it with a solid state.
Oh, nice.
So I kind of at least kind of put more air in the tires to kind of make it live.
Is it particularly loud?
I've cleaned her out. I've cleaned her out a couple times, and that helps a lot. It used to be she'd be screaming if you played it for longer than a couple hours.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about all of like nearly the launch PlayStation 4s. It's just like it sounds like a turbine jet.
Weren't the PS3s that way too?
Yes, yeah.
Especially those old ones that had the hardware to still emulate PS2.
I have one sitting in that closet right there.
the 1680 gig PS3s.
Is that the like big round top?
Yeah,
kinda
it's the
looking-
round top, and then it's
Yes.
got like the 4 USB ports and like all the memory cards, like
Yeah, you can throw like an
Yeah.
SD card in there
SD
too.
card. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really it's kind of rare. I actually bought it off of somebody at work for like $100. So yeah, it wasn't in the greatest of conditions, but I was like, when the hell am I gonna find this thing again? Yeah. Doom Eternal. I'm kind of looking forward to that too.
Just mere weeks away, man.
Is it? Is
Yep.
it that close?
It's I think it's the early March.
Jeez.
I mean, it was originally supposed to come out in November of this year
Mhm.
or of last year, I guess now.
And they delayed it?
got delayed into the minefield that will be like Cyberpunk 2077 and Last of Us 2. There's a few.
Speaking of Last of Us 2, it was supposed to come out the original like time they released a release date. It was
March?
the 21st. It was 2 days ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was supposed to be in February.
It was 2 days ago, and Neil Druckmann, the like producer,
Yeah.
tweeted like, "I feel like I'm forgetting something today." Yeah.
Look, Animal Crossing's coming out in March. Chow's gonna play the shit out of that game.
I've just been seeing like they have like a ton more NPCs or something.
They have. Who cares?
right.
I don't know.
know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. There's an itch that Animal Crossing scratches, even for me. But I know for a fact, whenever that game comes out, Chow's gonna disappear. I'm really fond of that lady. She's just gonna be gone from my life. Yeah.
Damn you, Animal Crossing.
Yeah, fucking Animal Crossing. I think it comes out on the 21st. So I mean, do we want to get into any of this coronavirus stuff? I mean, the only thing that I've been really seeing, I mean, not that I don't want to be insensitive to anybody that's affected by it. And I mean, bless those souls that were lost to it and everything like that. But I just want to bitch about my computer components not being readily available. I'm a pretty terrible human being, but Chow and I've been looking to get another Valve Index, and we're just like, oh, it's still sold out. Okay.
And Half-Life Alex is coming around the corner.
That's right around the corner.
Well, if I could inject a beam of sunshine, this is always, I feel like this is Reddit headline scanning at its worst. But I believe they've mapped the proteins for that particular virus.
Oh, really?
Way faster than they thought they were going to.
So they're close to coming up with a.
It's kind of the first step towards
vaccine
vaccination.
okay.
I mean, like there's still many steps, but they got through those preliminary steps much faster than I believe they thought they were going to. And I think that's just a pure function of the kind of computing power behind it. But the biochemistry of the virus itself is actually much better understood at this stage than they kind of anticipated they would. So
Okay, so I mean, hopefully it's out of our hair. And
yeah,
pretty.
I think there's a
pretty
lot of
quick.
hysteria, but I think there's just as much to kind of be optimistic about kind of the response to it on a global basis than I think you're led to believe. So that's the only silver lining I want to throw on that storm cloud.
Oh, Tom Bad Guy's pointing out that Final Fantasy VII Remake is being delayed. The Trials of Mana and Ori and the Blind Forest. Or
Is
Ori 2?
Is it Ori in the Blind Forest?
No, I can't remember what it's called, but it's Ori Part 2. Yeah.
Okay. But is that the same game series, or is it some other
yeah,
Ori?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's the same one.
Okay.
It's that little
Yeah,
Fennec
little-
Fox?
Something like
It
that.
looks like a little fox.
It's like a Metroidvania, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I played through. I don't know if I've like had this kind of rant about it with you guys yet or not, but I would really enjoyed the game and was playing it a lot, and I got through Ori and the Blind Forest. I think they made like an HD remake or something of it, or like remastered. And I got through the like you have to climb out this tree as it's like filling with water level, and that took me forever.
Is it one of those you have to
Yeah,
zigzag
and you have to
back and
you have
forth?
to get your movement down just right, and if you like fail one jump, you fail it, and you have to start almost all over. And I finally got through it, and I'm like, I'm done, and I set it down, and then I just never got back into it again because I was just pissed off.
Was it relatively early on, or was it?
It was. I guess I don't really know on the grand scheme of the whole game. I would assume it's about halfway through, but
Oh, okay.
maybe on the early
yeah.
side of halfway through. I don't
Okay.
really know, but Ori sequel, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Ori sequel. Jason's saying that his body's not ready for the releases in March because they're just going to destroy him. He's going to probably
That's to say
disappear
nothing
for a
of the
couple
wallet.
months. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. So coronavirus is stopping me from buying new hardware. And speaking of new hardware, man, that looked like some bras or something.
I can see it.
But these are HTC's new VR, new prototype VR goggles, and they look less goggly. Tyler, do you use your glasses whenever you use VR?
Yeah, I do.
Do you feel like this form factor would prevent you from? Because I mean, if you take a look at some of these,
It really, yeah.
that looks
depends on the
really close to
inside.
your face.
Yeah. And I know sometimes it's the lens distance from your eyeball, and sometimes it's the
The screen,
the width of
Oh,
the
you're-
actual like
okay.
face mask kind of.
How
can
does the Oculus wrap
for,
around?
For my glasses, it does pretty okay, but some other people that have like wide
Wider, yeah.
frames,
yeah.
it doesn't really work for. But that is another like downside to it. It's like, I know, is it the Index or some other one? You can set your lens
the index.
distance.
Yep.
But I know the farther you have it away, the like smaller your effective field of view gets.
Yeah,
and so it's nice to have it
right up
upon
against
it.
your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way I have my index set up is that like as I'm like blinking and shit, my eyelashes are brushing up right up against the lens, and
Right.
it's like I have, I don't know, it's probably like 115 degrees of field of view or something like that. I mean, Dylan, you know all about that VR, man.
I don't know about that.
You've been playing a shit ton of what is that?
I've done a few sessions
The Void?
at the Void at the Mall of America. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that is really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of spendy. So I think it's like $35 for
Per session per person.
per session per person. But yeah, I mean, I've done 3 of them there now, and they've all been super cool.
They worth it.
And those are ones that you can like actually walk around a lot
Yeah,
more.
so
right?
you're in a like a series of rooms. And yeah, you're actually
Are you like tethered
physically-
to something in the ceiling then that you're like?
Or you completely
What is it?
wireless.
No, you're completely wireless. They strap you into this rig that has the helmet, and the helmet has a cable on it. But I think the back of the like essentially like vest, it almost looks like
Probably a computer.
yeah, I think you're essentially porting a small tower around on your back, because once you get in there and they release the hook, because
Yeah.
it's on a hook. I mean, you feel
it falls on you.
Yeah,
and you're
feel,
like
I
that
mean,
weight.
you realize that you've just gained like 15 pounds. I bet.
Have you tried doing a forward roll with it on?
No, I don't think that would even be possible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just the helmet alone, you'd end up breaking
yeah.
their helmet. But they do other cool things too, where they, I did this one that was a horror themed one, and when you walk through the cobwebs, they have like thread or something hanging from the ceiling, so you feel it, or like. When I was doing the Star Wars one, we had this part where we were trying to bypass this control system, so we just ended up blasting it.
Yeah.
And that triggered
Classic.
Classic. Shoot it.
so-
It's red. Yeah.
right. Which triggered a fire suppression system, and they actually like misted you with cold
Oh,
water
yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that, or like when you first the Star Wars one takes place on Mustafar. So when you step out, like, you can smell the smoke, and like a heater comes on, and you can feel the heat blowing on you, and so they do a couple of little extra things like that. That's pretty cool.
So is the headset like a consumer unit, or does it look like
Like a proprietary.
yeah, like a
I'm
proprietary
guessing
headset?
it's proprietary. I mean, their headset is like.
Would you happen to know, Tyler, or
It's like
no?
a helmet.
I don't know if I had.
Oh, it wraps around the whole top of your head.
Yeah, so like when you put it on, like
It comes
the
down.
goggles part is up
Yeah.
at first, but then you fold it down.
Oh.
And then it's you're like, once you've got that on, the like guide person,
Yeah.
you cannot hear that guy.
Oh,
Anymore.
so he has to communicate through the game to you.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. No.
I don't know. I thought it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was actually like, man, that must mean it's relatively expensive. So yeah,
I think
that's
so.
Yeah.
You got to pay for
It's,
that brick and mortar location
yeah.
somehow.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure they're pretty. It's a pretty pricey rig.
Do you
I'm
feel
sure.
like there's a lot of interest?
The place, the
It's always busy.
It's always busy when I've been there.
Yeah.
I was invited by total non-gamers. The time
Really?
I heard- yeah,
Holy
it's like
shit.
people who don't
Yeah,
even have like a
like,
PC or console.
If you're interested in doing it, I would like get a group because you always do them in foursomes.
Yeah.
I would get a group of 4 and I would make a reservation.
Make a reservation,
like-
not just show up and be
No,
like, "Can I
yeah.
come back in 20 minutes?"
Yeah, go online and like pick a time slot, and that's how I would do it because it does get busy.
Damn.
One of my Minnesota Force buddies said when they first got the Star Wars one, they had some people troop it,
Yeah.
in costume
Yeah,
to promote
yeah.
it, and he said the line. Well, you know how the
The-
mall's shaped.
yeah.
Like the line went down
Jeez.
past where you could see it around the corner. Like you couldn't see where the line ended. He said it was just insane.
Tyler, as a person who has a VR headset at home, would you be interested in doing this?
Maybe for the sake of it being more of a full, because like I've got just the 2 sensor set up, so I can't really
There's
do things
less
like
movement.
turned
Yeah,
around, and I
yeah.
am tethered. So and to be able to do it because you can do it with people, like that's the one thing is like
Yeah.
You have to.
And you have to,
every
right.
single one of them is 4 player, and I believe you have to have all 4 players.
So for those aspects, I would be interested
Mm-hmm.
as long as the setting and scenario was something I was into. But I definitely don't see myself like going out of my way to like I've understood the novelty that is VR, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it necessarily just to get that experience.
Yeah.
But I'd do it.
It's cool too. I mean, some of them have like, if there's a puzzle you have to do,
Yeah.
you are actually like physically manipulating objects,
Right.
You
Yeah,
can't
that's
see
definitely
you can't-
cool.
You
Yeah.
can't see what it is. I mean, you only
So
see
then,
what the,
are you wearing like gloves or do you have controllers?
Yeah, you have like gloves on.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's
Or
a good idea.
no, actually, you don't have gloves. It just sees your hands.
Leap
Whoa.
motion. Leap
It's-
motion.
The
Yeah.
heads. I think the headset is just
Yeah, it must have like
full
some
of
sort of a
sensors.
laser that it senses your hands
Yeah,
or something
because
like
it's
that.
like you hold up your hands and you wiggle your fingers, and it
No, that's pretty cool.
responds.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah,
Isn't that kind of like the Windows
mixed reality.
mixed reality
Yeah,
where
yeah.
like the sensors are actually in the headset?
Yeah.
Although I think they'll still use controllers. Maybe.
I think those can use controllers, but then I also know that there's some sort of a magic leap sensor. It's kind
Okay.
of like
maybe like the Connect kind of.
yeah, it's kind of that's actually the best way to describe it. I know that there's some exclusive. I think one from Lenovo that is specifically with the magic leap built in. But
Right.
I think they kind of abandoned ship because they were like, oh, it can't see anything beyond that. So as soon as your hands go this
Move to
far
the
out, it
sides,
just
yeah.
disappears.
Yeah.
Zach, have you tried VR?
Yeah, there was when I was in Chattanooga for the first year, which was like back in 2017.
Yeah.
A roommate I was with went out and got like the full Vive kit.
Oh, nice.
So I don't even recall the name of the game, but it's essentially SpiderMan web slinging and like going from tree trunk.
Windlands?
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think that's it. So I played a lot of that, and I found I had a hard limit of when I just started getting sick.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think that's something that would probably improve if I like put more time in on it.
It
but
does. Or if you drink a couple drinks first, that actually helps.
Good to know.
I found.
Ginger ale. I'd recommend ginger ale, ginger snaps, ginger root, anything ginger. Kind of, yeah, kind of equalizes your ear or something like that. It's the same stuff that they were like, oh, if you're on a ship or something like that, and you get seasick, and then you try some ginger, and you're supposedly get a little bit better. So
Fascinating. So yeah, so
Dramamine.
I'm pretty out of date on where VR's gone over the last 3 years. So it's certainly something that I have been meaning to find friends who will foot the bill so I can play on them.
So I mean, I've Chow and I, we've had the Oculus Rift. We just recently, I guess not too recently, but we have the Valve Index, and I don't know. It's become Beat Saber machines. Like
Right. That's
is-
all we play with it.
Yeah,
much, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just bought the Humble Bundle that has like a whole bunch of VR games on there. You should probably look it up.
Okay. Yeah.
Space Pirate Trainer is pretty good.
I have that already. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So if that's the best one for it, then
Super
yeah.
Hot VR.
I don't have Super Hot VR.
No,
yet.
it's on there.
Okay.
So Moss.
Okay.
Those are pretty interesting. So, Yeah, but I mean, I think VR is cool. Since I already kind of got my own though, I don't know how willing I'd be to go check out those, but I'm more intrigued about like the freedom of movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing that's separate. I mean, because I've played several friends VR setups, and that's the big thing is
the
like
freedom of movement. Yeah,
the freedom of movement, and you don't have to hold a controller. That's another big thing too. Mm-hmm. Like,
although you are then also putting on more gear, like because instead of having a
just
computer you're tethered to, you kind of wear a computer, and instead of having controllers,
you're wearing a helmet and then this like
the
vest,
backpack,
like a vest rig.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about video game streaming services. This is in relation to Google Stadia, NVIDIA GeForce Now.
I think there's another one out there that I've seen brought up.
I want to say there is.
Yeah.
Ouya? I don't know. I'm not sure. But supposedly, I don't know if anybody's ever tried the streaming services.
I just picked up a Shield Pro.
Ooh. Are you gonna sign up?
And so I'm signed up, and they have like the free, because they're technically like out of beta now, so you can create just like a free account, and the free account gives you like an hour per session, and I don't know if that session then just ends, and then you need to like
I think you need to restart it
basically.
Yeah.
And I fired it up to try it. It worked fine.
What game did you? Destiny or
no? I think I started one of the Batman like Arkham games
City
just to like run the benchmark and see how it looked and how it felt. But because I'll do my own in-home streaming as well with just it's not called GeForce Now, but it's called GeForce
whatever Shadow Link,
there's Shadow Play or whatever.
Something.
And I'll do that more often than not. But it worked for me just fine. I've got my sister's boyfriend plays Stadia, and he bought into the whole like Founders Edition of it all.
So he got the fancy controller.
Yeah, he got and all he's told me is that like it works and he plays it, but I know he had like a lot of headaches the first like launch day because like they didn't send out the codes when they said they were going to, and then it was like there was some drama around that. And I haven't actually watched him play it, so I can't comment on how well my perception of the quality or latency is. But
it's kind of unfair though, because you have a fiber connection at home, and so somebody like me who I have like fucking Spectrum, and my ping rate at best to like the next closest server is like 13 milliseconds. You're probably sub.
It's like 2 or sometimes 5.
Yeah. So Zach, do you know what this is at all? Like the
I'm aware.
sources?
I mean, this is another one of those things that I try and keep a real vague finger on the pulse to.
Yeah.
In case I ever do maybe jump into that PC gaming world.
Didn't PlayStation have some kind of cloud gaming service though?
PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
I never really went in for it. I mean, I had a couple people who used it and were big fans of it, but I'm the kind of gamer that usually just fixates on something for a long time. And it's usually something a little like, it's like Doom. I pick up Doom 4 years later.
You play it,
bejesus out of it. So I mean, it's definitely a concept that I think it's just going back to this digital distribution of everything.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I mean, I think it kind of caters to, especially in games where it's something you got to try and play before you buy. It gives you a chance to not have to throw down $60.
So I think in Google Stadia and GeForce Now, I think you do have to buy the game.
Depends on the game. GeForce Now has some free that you don't need to pay for. Like I think like one of the Tomb Raiders is free, and there's a handful of free games.
Okay.
But otherwise, yes, you do need to buy the game, or you need to own it on Steam, and you can sign into Steam.
Okay. Now that's slick. That's a good proposition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My only experience with game streaming services were like, I don't know if you remember OnLive.
Rings a bell, but I don't remember.
It's super old. They shut down. And then I did try the GeForce Now beta, and that was whenever I first got like the Shield tablet, and the only thing that stood out to me was latency.
So when I was I think when I was about 16 years old, back in high school, they had this is maybe the same thing, maybe it's not, I don't know. for the Sega Genesis, they had this thing called Sega Television.
No, Sega Channel.
It was Sega Channel. That's
Sega
what it was.
Channel,
Sega
yeah.
Channel. So you got this adapter, this box that plugged into the cartridge slot, and then your cable from your cable TV screwed into the back of that, and you boot it up, and you had this menu that was game categories. So you had sports games, action, RPG, the gamut, and you had 50 games every month, and they rotated the games. But it was what was really cool about, initially they were rotating them monthly, and then I think they upped it to every 2 weeks. But what was super cool about it is it tracked what you were playing, so the games that you were playing didn't disappear. It would just rotate out the stuff you had no interest in. I don't know if that's quite the same thing or not, but it was.
How did that work then? Was it?
I have no idea.
Like I said, it was like it was an adapter that plugged into the cartridge.
It was like
and
early
then
90s,
and then they beamed it out through your cable.
I really don't know how that Sega Channel. Do you remember X Band?
I don't remember X Band, but you got to remember this was pretty damn revolutionary at the time, because you got to remember these are like the days of dial-up internet.
Yeah,
right.
So
that's where I wonder if they didn't just like send you the whole game code at that time, because the games were small enough, and then the system just ran it.
I don't think bandwidth would have been high enough in order to.
It's hard to say though, because it was on your cable, which had
way
higher
television cable.
Your television cable, so way higher bandwidth than like a phone.
Than a dial-up. Yeah. But I also remember that service being like $40 a month.
I don't think it was that expensive. What I remember it being was like comparable to like it'd be like paying for HBO as an upgrade on your cable. I think it was only like, I don't know, 12 to 15 bucks.
Netflix.
Or yeah, it was like 12 to 15 bucks or something a month. So
I remember playing Street Fighter Legends on there.
Because believe me, if it was like super expensive, we would not have it. It was like reasonably priced enough that my parents were willing to shell out the money for it. That was super cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was revolutionary at the time. Yeah, okay. Yeah. For some reason why we can't do it now. I guess what's happening is that we don't have the hardware locally, and so all the hardware on the servers and everything like that render out the game.
Right.
And it essentially, we send our input over to the server, and then the server sends back the audio visual. Yeah. And
I'm seeing in chat, Sega Channel is $15 a month with a $25 activation fee, by the way. So
Tom, how do you know that? God damn, he's old like us.
But right, so like it's streaming you the actual
I don't
game.
Yeah, I think it's streaming.
I want to say
game.
that like Google Stadia advertised like predictive
some
sort of, and I don't know if it's predicting inputs, like if you're holding a bunch of forward, it just assumes you're holding forward
you're gonna
for a
be
while.
holding it until something else
and
changes.
So rather than like, but I don't know how they predict gaming input. I mean, maybe it's simpler than I'm thinking it would be, but
I don't know. But I mean, that was super cool stuff back then.
Right.
Let me see. Zach, did you want to talk about that?
About
more coronavirus stuff?
No, I think I've got my fill in there. But if I could talk about the Beastie Boys quickly.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Me and Tyler will go into the next room, guys.
Let's definitely talk about that.
Consider the Beastie Boys my favorite band of all time. Which is I have yet to find someone else who feels the same way.
They're definitely in my top 5.
Well, you, sir, are a man of taste.
Yes, I've seen them no less than 5 times.
See, I'm young enough that before I didn't really get into them until it was a little too late. Like the first album I listened to was, I think Check Your Head. That was the one when it was like came out and I was like, oh shit.
That was a particularly
that was a good one.
Unbelievably well done. I mean, I don't have enough good things to say about that album.
And so this documentary that Spike Jonze is making, it damn near dignifies Apple TV's existence in my eyes.
Agreed.
Is it exclusive to Apple TV?
Oh,
I will honestly probably end up doing my trial week after that comes out, just so I can watch that.
Yep.
R matey.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Either way, I must see it.
Yeah, that's really. I just want to make sure that the world knows that that's coming out. Any more awareness we can bring, because boy, howdy, I just think they're the most fascinating band, especially with the punk rock roots.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just
Yeah,
can't wait to see them dive
absolutely.
into it.
You know, and it's funny that's how I know you're a fan, is that you actually knew that they were a punk rock band, which was one of the things I always loved about them, is that they never turned their backs on those roots.
Right.
Just about every one of their albums features at least one punk rock
Totally.
song on it too,
Well,
which is
and
just great.
There's video of some performance from Coachella where they start playing Sabotage and then stop and just like walk up the mic and be like, "We are performing this live, just so you know, we're musicians."
Yeah.
Because like this is, and here's my other badge of pride for being a Beastie Boys fan, is I actually am super into the Mix Up, which is, for those who may not know, that's their instrumental jazz album that they recorded.
What?
Yeah, it's awesome.
They did I believe Mike D did a country album as well.
Heck yeah, dude.
Those guys have some.
They got chops.
Yeah, they have quite the range.
Yeah.
They like you said, they are full-fledged musicians.
Yeah, holy
They're-
shit, yeah.
They're talented musicians.
I went to go see American Hi-Fi at the Weenie Roast, and those guys forgot the lyrics to their song, and they said, "We're just gonna play the instrumentals, guys."
Oh,
Jesus, yeah.
So in 1998, I believe it was, I saw the Beastie Boys at Target Center. They were touring for Hello Nasty. And it was called In the Round. It was a round stage in the center of the floor, and it rotated, which was super cool because you could get right up by the stage. I got a lot of cool stories from that concert, but the coolest thing was it was Beastie Boys and Tribe Called Quest.
stop it!
And
Stop.
yep, the only
I see the conference table coming up at Don's front.
As soon as they announced that, I knew this was going to be my one opportunity to see Get It Together done live
with everybody.
because that is Beastie Boys featuring Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest, and they
Nice.
did encore that. It was one of the encore songs, and it was just spectacular.
And so the other thing that pops into my mind too is, are you aware of Gunning for that #1 spot?
Gunning for that number, I don't think
So this is a document. This is one that's a real deep cut. Maybe I don't know. It's so Adam Yauch, MCA.
Yep.
Is
May he
a
rest in peace.
yeah. Golly, what a bummer that is. That is truly like my great I haven't seen the Beastie Boys live, and it's the great regret of my life.
of your life.
But so MCA was a director. He not only directed under a kind of pseudonym. Was it Horatio Hornblower?
Oh, okay. Horatio Hornblower. Okay.
And
That's
so,
a hell of a name.
yeah. So it's like a literally a full blown like persona he would be a director as. But so one of the documentaries he made was about a basketball tournament that takes place annually at Rucker Park in New York, and it's a showcase for the best high school basketball talent in the country. And so this is circa like 2000 and like I think 3 or 4. And so what he did was he just kind of followed these players around, and it's people like Kevin Love, Michael Beasley, Jared Bayless. So there's a lot of guys who are high schoolers who are going to eventually be the NBA players we're kind of familiar with today. And it's him. It's all either Beastie Boys instrumentals or music. And it's just him following a bunch of kids around and like watching them interact with each other behind the scenes.
I'm
And
gonna have to see that. Then.
it is awesome. It is amazing.
When is this documentary coming out?
This is like 15 years old at this point. It's called Gunning for that #1 spot.
Oh, the other one.
Geez, I don't even actually know the name,
Yeah.
but that's got to be any time now. I believe that's going to be one of their next big exclusives.
I guess it's just called the Beastie Boys story.
And it's Spike Jones. I mean, and it's
okay, Spike Jones. Yeah.
So it's like if you needed any more reason to go for it, it's a really, really awesome dress.
Okay.
So actually, circling back to circa 97, 98, I remember how this is how I found out that the Beastie Boys were finally coming out with another new album. At that time, it was like, oh my God, they're finally coming out with another new album. When they came out with Hello Nasty, I remember sitting in a buddy's basement and we were channel surfing, clicking through channels, and I told him, "Stop, go back." I think that was MCA from the Beastie Boys. So he goes back, and we proceeded to watch this like infomercial that they made. They made this phony infomercial. There was 3 parts. I don't even remember what the products were, but they were like legit like doing this like phony 3 infomercials, the 3 of them. And then at the end of it, after it cycled through, it gave you ordering info for pre-ordering the album. I actually pre-ordered that on. I still have the vinyl record.
Wow.
Yes. That was it.
Okay, we can't watch it.
It was so funny. So funny. I mean, like,
their sense of humor is so great.
Look at MCA with that pink sweater on. I mean, come on. But yeah, it was just like playing on television. I just like briefly like recognized him, and I'm like, wait, go back. I want to see what that is.
Was this the exact like picture you saw, and you were like, I think that's MCA?
I don't think that was the exact picture.
Because I don't think I would have been able to pick him out. I would have just been like, is that Geraldo?
But yeah, it was just I don't know, just another tribute to their genius as artists. Those guys are just something else.
I mean, because their music videos are really what kind of got me suckered in the first place. It's just like every single one of them is a masterpiece.
It's
the
edgy.
video, the graffiti, animated
For Shadrack?
graffiti. Well, I was thinking for Skills to Pay the Bills.
Oh, right. Okay. Nice. I don't know if I've seen that one. Because there's the video for Shadrack is like impressionist paintings that have been animated.
This one is actual like graffiti art.
Oh, shit.
It's not. Yeah, it wasn't like the impressionist stuff. Like, yeah, it was. That song I think was one of the B-side singles from Check Your Head.
And then the other one that really sticks in my mind is the performance. I can't remember if it's Late Night or if it's Conan, but they're doing 3 MCs and 1 DJ walking down the street in New York, rapping to the camera, leading to them walking backstage and onto the stage to finish the performance.
Yeah,
it's just like these guys are just on this next level where like they're performers, man.
Well, that's great because next year when our work company does their they do that lip sync competition. I finally found somebody that might be willing to do it with me.
I would get on board
because I was thinking, because I'm like, okay, really, I'm like, if I can just find one person to do it, then we could do Finger Licking Good.
Ooh,
is this gonna be like videotaped or is this live or?
It's both.
I'm more than willing to produce the video for it.
Well, it's they did it they did it last year at the Medina Ballroom.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's like they sell tickets at this point.
Yeah, so I mean it's live.
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah,
I'd pay to see that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, no, you got to stop me when I start about Beastie Boys.
Talking about Beastie Boys.
Speaking of documentaries, there's a Tony Hawk Pro Skater documentary being made.
Ooh. Yeah.
For the
Is
game.
it for the game? Is it for like the 20th anniversary or something like that?
Yeah. And I don't know if any of you guys played any of the
Tony
Hawk Pro. I was not like a skater myself.
Played
but
the shit out of the first
I became
one.
a skater because of Tony Hawk. Like
I can't even stand on a skateboard
Oh,
without
yeah.
hurting myself. So I don't have the balance, but
I
I always thought it was super cool.
Yeah, I remember playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Well, Pro Skater 2 and was okay, but 3 was really where it happened. And I remember beating that game, and then you would collect like all of these special items and stuff like that, and it would unlock videos that played.
Yeah,
like the secret tapes.
Yeah, and they would like show like like all the developers like skating from whenever they were a kid to now and everything like that. It was truly amazing. Like that stuff was really inspiring. That's kind of what pushed me to want to be like a skater kid. And stuff like
my
that.
first exposure to Tony Hawk was the movie Gleaming the Cube. Anybody?
No.
80s Christian Slater.
Nope.
No.
How old is this?
Google it. It's from the 80s, but yeah, he did. Him and his crew did all the stunt work for that movie.
Gleaming the Cube.
Gleaming the Cube.
Oh shit!
Oh, yeah.
That thing filled out hella quick.
29% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes is liars.
Yeah,
They're liars.
Yeah.
1989.
I generally don't trust critics anyway.
I don't
but
know.
yes,
Christian
that's-
Slater doesn't have that good of a reputation with me.
Excuse me, sir.
Again, I saw this movie when I was a kid.
Yeah,
so I'm sure
yeah.
it was a lot better then than it would be if I watched
I mean,
it
I
now.
was a fan of Three Ninjas. You know, Three Ninjas.
One of the
Kick
top
Back,
audience
yeah.
Okay,
reviews
well,
here
then you have no right to be.
starts with one of the memories of cable television viewing back in the late 80s was seeing this movie every other day. Evidently, it was just on cable TV all the time.
Yeah.
That's where I saw it, was on cable TV
Yeah.
back in the
Yeah.
80s, 90s.
That's right, Tom.
So to circle back around to Tony Hawk, one thing that I think stands out about that game to me more than anything was the profound impact it had on my musical taste.
Right. The name of the documentary is
Ace of
pretending
Spades.
I'm a Superman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's this ska stuff
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
about?"
yeah,
I like
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But even that, I remember because Tony Hawk Underground was the first one that I owned because we had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 at our computer lab at school.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I remember playing the bejesus out of it, but it was like the game my mom didn't want me playing because it was gonna
Oh,
poison my youthful mind. But
Yeah.
Underground is like first time I'd listened to a lot of hip hop and like more indie hip hop, a lot of like Jurassic 5,
Mhm.
and it was just like, oh, I went from that kind of snobby rap is crap
Mhm.
to very much like
Yeah.
completely reverse that. And I was
Yeah.
like, rap might not be crap.
Yeah, hip hop is interesting. I feel like you really have to dig deep to find the good stuff. Which there's a wealth of good stuff out there, but I guess it's probably true for just about any musical genre, though. You're really,
I think so.
You're not going to get the cream of the crop from the radio.
But if you hate the like commercial like consumerist like kind of like
it's
braggadocious stuff,
Yeah,
like you
it's
can get turned
awful.
off from rap so fast.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
Do you remember back in the day when you could pop the disc out of your PlayStation and
Swap
put it in
it,
a CD
CD,
player
yeah.
and it would play the songs from the
yeah.
soundtrack?
I remember, speaking of that, I remember the original Grand Theft Auto. You could pop the disc out after the game had loaded, put a CD in, and that was your
Yeah.
radio station.
No, yeah.
Like just a CD of musical
music CD, and then that would play in game as your
That's
radio.
slick.
Okay. Does anybody here remember Monster Rancher? Do you guys know what that is?
Vaguely.
Okay, so it's like Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
But what it was you had your PlayStation, you start up the game, and it's like, oh, I want to create a monster, and then it'll be like, oh, swap out the disc, and so you could put in any random disc, right? Music disc, and so like. Depending on like the data or the metadata on a disc, and it would create a monster off of that, right?
Interesting.
Whoa.
That game, the most OP powerful monster came from a Celine Dion CD.
Unsurprising.
Yeah. I mean, I could just imagine like the game's reading that Titanic song, and it's just like, oh, this person is horrible, and it gives you like the worst fucking monster, like the most OP shit ever. No, PlayStation was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Tyler, did you want to talk about Westworld?
I don't know if the rest of y'all watched Westworld or.
I do.
This
Yeah.
son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
Did you see
I
the trailer?
I would have to see what trailer you're talking about, because there has been a season 3 trailer out for quite.
I thought it was one that came out pretty
while.
recently.
Okay, because I saw I saw one that I believe had been first screened at San Diego Comic-Con last year.
Okay.
I saw the trailer in like June or July or something after I finished the
Right.
second season.
Yeah, I
on
think, and maybe
HBO.
this is the same trailer, and they just didn't put it on YouTube, and it was like exclusive to that. Because I think I just saw it like on Reddit. It came up last week or something.
I only saw. Yeah, I had seen it on like the HBO app. I
Okay.
streamed it
Right.
from the series itself.
Right.
But yeah, it looks pretty interesting.
I'm realizing, like, having watched the trailer, it seems like a lot of out of the park, if not mostly or entirely out of the park.
Yeah, it looks
stuff.
like everything takes
Well,
place in the real world.
Can you guys explain what Westworld is?
Okay, so-
do you have any?
I've actually seen the Michael Crichton directed movie with Yul Brynner, and I have not seen the show.
I want to see that movie, and I actually there's a sequel to that as well called Future World.
Interesting.
That I think has a completely different cast, but I want to see both of those too. Anyway, the premise is it's it's the near future, and it's got kind of a Blade Runner type of vibe to it, where we've created these artificial people, and you can go to this theme park, and in like southwestern United States, and you can basically go there and do whatever the hell you want because everybody
which is Western themed.
Yeah, it's
Westworld.
Old West themed, and you can pretty much do whatever you want because
Is there a lot of robot sex?
because there's a
Yeah,
ton
there's-
of
okay.
robot sex.
Yeah. That's my future. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, you can go fuck these robots. You can murder them. You can do whatever you want with no
Yeah.
consequences. And then, of course, the robots start to become
Revolt.
self-aware.
Yeah.
And what they had been doing with them previously is they, once they die and they fix them and they're gonna stick them back out in the park, they do a complete memory wipe, so they have no memory.
Yeah.
They just wake up thinking they're some different.
I'm a new
person.
robot.
They feed and they
Yeah.
feed them like they think
No, they're
they're a
not-
person.
Yeah, they
just
think they're
feed them.
people.
Yeah, they just feed them that person's backstory of memories, and so
Yeah.
they get turned back on,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just take the persona of what they've been kind of fed.
But of course, one of the robots begins accessing, former wipes and stuff like that.
And that's the Tandy Newton character, correct?
Yeah.
She's from Mission Impossible 2.
Are you saying the actress?
Tandy
Yeah,
Newton.
I'm not sure.
It's Tandy.
Is it Tandy?
It's Tandy.
Oh, I thought it was Tandy.
I'm
It's
not-
spelled Tandy.
I'm not sure. The gal on the show, I'm only familiar with her from the
Yes,
show.
yes,
so-
it is.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
her, yeah.
Okay. Oh, so she's
Maeve.
she's the first one that kind of
Yeah, and if I
Realizes-
remember
Was it
right,
her or was it I can't remember. her
it
name
was
now.
her.
that got the first
Well, let me see.
memories.
Let me see what you got up there.
like
Yeah, I believe it was.
I couldn't
her.
remember if it was her or if
the-
it was.
the
I
blo-
can't remember her name.
the blonde woman.
Evan Rachel Wood.
She
Oh,
was-
Evan Rachel
okay.
Wood is in this?
Okay, so it wasn't her first. It was the other.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
the
it was the
blonde
other one.
gal.
Yeah.
because she was, I believe, was the first. She was like the first one of them that they ever made.
Yeah, she was like maybe the first, or and the first, like, because they had different iterations of like the models. Like they had like a model update at some point, but
Right.
So they started phasing out the old models, but she was one of the oldest models that didn't get phased out.
Her and then the Tandy.
She's all that, right?
She was one of the original models as well.
Is
But,
she?
but
she's
yeah,
all
it's
that?
a super dope show. I'm really excited for the third season to come out. Do you know when it's supposed to be released? Because I mean,
Google probably does.
because I've been waiting. I'm gonna resubscribe to HBO.
Oh,
probably
I'm an
for-
idiot.
That's Rachel Lee Cook, a
I'm
Saint
racist.
Paul
March 15th.
Saint Paul native.
Oh, is she?
March 15th.
Yep.
Oh, sweet. So soon.
Oh, that's pretty soon. Yeah,
Um,
you only got a couple weeks.
that, and I'm super excited for season 3 of Cobra Kai to come out.
Ooh.
Which that should be coming out sometime in the next few months here.
The only thing I'm kind of bummed about the whole like being out of the park thing is because seasons 1 and 2 there was a lot of like, do you know what's going on? Like you're trying to piece together because they do weird things with time because
Right.
the host's perception of time is so weird because they get wiped and then they start remembering things, but so you don't really ever know
Well, and then
the
you have
series
the-
of events,
And then you have the
what's-
different character arcs too for the like actual
The guests
human
and the
human
humans.
pe- yeah, the
Yep.
guests.
And so that was what was kind of fun for seasons 1 and 2 was trying to figure out what happened, and
Well,
you start to piece it together. But then now I don't know if they're going to be able to do that moving forward.
Is there a lot of time skipping in this as well?
Yeah, I guess like just jumping and like
Different experiences that they've
yeah,
had.
I mean it's not even on the level of like The Witcher. It's not even
Okay.
close to that level. But it definitely does. Another thing that I liked when they were in the parks is when they started introducing the other parks.
yes,
East World,
Samurai
and-
World.
Yeah, the Samurai World, and then they had the India, the
Yep.
like 1800s India park where they were tiger hunting. That was really cool.
And so yeah, I don't know if they're going to return to that now that they're kind of out of the parks or whatever they are.
Right.
Yeah. So
But yeah, that
This
trailer
sounds really exciting.
that trailer looks cool. Like
Yeah,
all the
it
like
does.
big robots and stuff walking around out in the real
do
world.
we need to
and-
watch the trailer for you guys?
We could pull it up.
Do it.
And then I'll probably have to scoot after that.
Oh, I should put it in season 3. What?
Do
3
that
days
one.
ago?
3 days ago. That's probably the one I saw.
Okay, I don't think that's the one I've seen.
I was born into this world, and my first memories of it are pain.
Commissioner Gordon
For
himself.
my kind, there was one place we were never allowed.
Gary Oldman?
No, Jeffrey Wright.
Oh,
One place we were never allowed to see.
Yeah, he is amazing in this
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Your world.
Who are you, Dolores?
Dolores.
You and I are a lot alike. They put you in a cage.
Also-
What your life
oh yeah, Pinkerton.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
did the same thing to me.
Because he wasn't in season 1 or 2. No.
Not me, but someone. Something has.
All the production values in this is really high considering it's like TV. Well, it's HBO.
Yeah,
So
it is HBO.
The
Yeah.
person who took your future.
Welcome to my world, Maeve.
What do you want from me then?
Dolores. I want you to track her down and kill her.
Oh shit! It's the guy from
Ocean's
Ocean's 11.
12, 11.
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris, yeah.
Ed Harris is cold
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
show.
He's the Yul Brenner role, I believe, from the original.
No, because Yul Brynner was one of the robots.
Isn't he one of the robots? I thought he was
No.
like the bad.
He's a guest.
Oh, Tessa Thompson.
I finally understand my purpose.
No, actually, I think Yul Brynner's role would
Save
be
the fucking world.
Dolores.
Oh, okay.
The plan starting.
Oh, and that's a Hemsworth brother.
It looks like it. Is it really?
He's the eldest Hemsworth.
Oh, is it him, Chris, and then
It's the
Ian?
old-fashioned way.
Liam.
Liam?
Liam's the youngest.
Okay.
The old-fashioned way.
I kill everyone. You're not the only predator here.
Oh, jeez. Samurai World?
They're very
That's what I'm guessing.
Cool. That looks dope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks real
Yeah.
dope.
I had not seen this trailer yet. I'd seen I think 2 other ones, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't want to see any more of that. Like, I'm actually really interested now.
yeah.
Like, I'm seriously intrigued.
get
Yeah.
HBO
Tell the
and
trailer.
and binge the first 2 seasons, and yeah, you'll be happy you did.
Dylan, will you be willing to wait to answer these questions?
Sure, I can do that.
Let me see here. I forgot how to use Google.
Just ask Google. I can tell you.
Google, how you work. Okay, so we'll be wrapping up this episode. Dylan's got to run off. But questions for Perfect Zeros episode 2. We have the first one from Mindy Yang from Hickory, North Carolina. I have this thing for conspiracy theories. Lol, I'd love to hear your favorite one.
Okay. Oh boy.
I think my favorite's Paul McCartney's Dead.
Yeah,
Have
that's
you
a good one.
Yeah. there's a
The
thing
Paul-
on Netflix.
The Paul is dead.
Yeah.
Paul
Is
play,
dead
play,
man.
play- you
Miss
play
him.
the record
Yep.
backwards. Yeah.
Yep.
That was
Oh.
Also,
from,
he's out of step with everybody on the Abbey Road cover.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, they're all so equally ridiculous most of the times. I've always been a fan of the moon landing was faked.
Okay.
Just because that one, like, if you start digging, like,
Yeah.
they make a plausible case for it.
Oh, I know what you mean.
But yeah, there's I don't know. I think that's probably my favorite. Yeah.
There's a really good movie called Moonwalkers that is based on the film crew that got hired to fake the moon landings, as they actually went to land on the moon just in case it fucked up and they needed to trick everybody.
Oh, that
and it
is
stars Ron
interesting.
Weasley and Ron Perlman.
So there is actually a really great movie called Moonwalker starring a certain Michael Jackson that I don't know if you were familiar with that.
Zach?
Oh boy, I'm trying to think if there's like a good one, because
Even if you don't believe it, if you just have an appreciation for it.
I've always been a big fan of the people being replaced by fake. So the McCartney one's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's one for Andrew WK that I don't think they said he died, but they brought in an imposter to like take over for him.
Mm-hmm.
But in a more serious one, I really like especially any of the JFK assassination conspiracies.
That's what I was about to say.
Especially for the mafia involvement.
Yeah, that one actually gets me too, just because that's another one that, like, you start looking at, the evidence that people have, and it's pretty
compelling. Yeah, it's very compelling.
Especially considering the time of when that happened. It would be much easier to probably cover something like that.
I think growing up, I remember watching like television specials about the conspiracy theory of the JFK assassination, and it was always edited video because obviously you didn't want to show all that gore and shit like that. And I went down a dark Reddit rabbit hole where people were like, "Yo, this is the raw, like, uncut footage. Take a look at this," and then you see where he gets shot in the back, and then you see one where he gets shot in the front. I'm just like, yeah, one bullet coming from one direction doesn't do that same type of thing, like exit wounds are like really, really violent. And I was like, oh shit, maybe we're wrong. That was the only one that really, really got me. But yeah, I guess if we're not talking about paranormal stuff, then
So the two ones that I really like too are that the CIA manufactured the crack epidemic.
Oh yeah, that's
part of the Iran-Contra affair.
That is a great one.
That one actually more and more seems like it's just true. And then same with the Gulf of Tonkin incident that incited the Vietnam War.
On that same note, I've actually there's a lot of stuff that you can find about the Bush family, and especially about George Sr., who just happened to be
director of
the CIA at the time, and stuff about some like boats that they owned and stuff like that. That one is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely it's like the more things get declassified down the road. I mean, you never know when we're going to find out. But to that same wit, the Gulf of Tonkin incident ended up being U.S. fired missiles sinking that boat. And that's the entire reason we went to Vietnam.
Yeah. All right. Emily Onstad from St. Paul, Minnesota. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have put in her last
Represent.
name. She's not a native. She's a transplant.
Still counts.
What are the worst topics that have been brought up on dates you've been on?
So whenever I bring up the crack epidemic at my dates, it goes terribly. Absolutely horribly.
Worst topics brought up on dates, huh?
I think the worst topic to bring up on a first date especially is past experiences or past partners.
Oh God, that's the worst.
Because you just end up comparing them, right?
Yeah, or at any point when you're in any type of relationship with somebody and they cannot stop talking about their ex, it's like,
yeah,
I'm done.
Peace. Yeah, peace out.
But I'm over him. I'm like, well, clearly not.
Let me see. Did anybody else have anything to contribute to that one? Okay.
So I have a funny story about a friend's bad first date where he went to PetSmart with a girl. This is around 7th grade. And then he shit himself.
Oh,
so this isn't really a topic of conversation.
No.
PetSmart, they don't let you use the bathroom. So he had to just he was cleaning his ass up with dog toys from the aisle.
Oh, Jesus.
and so he literally ran away to get away from her to try and clean himself up and resume the date. And then it was bad enough that he had to go down the street. This is in St. Paul, so he went down the street to where there's a baker's square, and this is a 7th grader with a pants full of shit. And they make him buy food to go use the bathroom. They're just like and even told him, he's like, I pooped my pants. I'm okay with pooping my pants. Can I please use the bathroom? Like, how much money you got in your pocket?
Jesus Christ.
That poor bastard. That's like one of the worst stories, period, that I've ever.
But apparently he did follow up, and he went back and resumed the date with only minor questions being asked, from what I understand.
I think in those situations, I would just sacrifice the underwear that I have on to wipe and just ditch it. Just go commando for the rest of the day. Fuck it, man. Okay. Best smell you can remember. For this one, I guess whenever I was growing up, my mom would use like a very specific lotion or something, as a baby and stuff like that. And I remember sometime after my mom passed away that I think I used the exact same brand, and that smell hit me, and I had all of these feelings of nostalgia from whenever I was a kid, and it just washed me over. Unfortunately, I I continued to use that lotion until I no longer had any emotional attachment to that smell. So I wish it would come back, but that doesn't work.
Yeah, I think it's like actually scientifically been shown that smell and memory are like very
smell
intensely
is
connected.
your strongest olfactory sense attached to memory.
Right.
I've read that.
I could see that.
Yeah. But as far as specific spells for me,
anybody else?
Butterscotch pie.
Why?
Because my grandma, it's like
yeah.
So like I have a lot of siblings, and one thing I found about having a lot of siblings is it's important to identify a food you like that everyone hates, so that you can just have it to yourself.
Yep.
And butterscotch pie was one of those. The other one being Pepsi Blue. If anyone remembers Pepsi Blue,
is that like some sort of
it was
diet?
No, it was a Pepsi that was blue. It like looked like a bottle of windshield wiper fluid.
Nope, I'm good.
I hope it was better than the clear Pepsi.
Dude, it
I
was
remember
terrible.
Pepsi Clear. Yeah,
I was lying to myself and saying I loved it, but my grandma used to always make me butterscotch pie, so it was like my special.
That was yours.
Pie
Yeah, that was
that
yours.
no one else was gonna eat.
that's my pie.
Name things you've immediately regretted doing in the past.
Fast 4.
Yeah,
I paid to see Fast 4.
It'd be easier for me to list things that I don't regret. I circling back, I already kind of drug it through the mud once, but man, the second Pirates, dude, it's 2.5, 3 hours of my life.
You're never getting it back.
Never getting
You're
back.
never getting it back.
And I can't. The funny thing was it was like it didn't like. It wasn't like I was at the end of it. I was disappointed. Like
it was at the
it was like
middle.
It was like a constant shit show. But I stuck with it, and I'm like, okay,
it's gonna redeem itself.
It's gonna get there. Like it's gonna happen. I just know it. And then it was over, and I was just like, I was so mad. I was just pissed. I'm like, this is like the biggest piece of shit I've seen in a long time.
I think I did that with Jurassic World.
Was that the third one?
The one?
No, it's 4.
The one that
That's
just
the Chris
recently.
Pratt one.
So it was the first one in which he's like training raptors and shit, and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, I think I did that.
That's where I really started to realize I think I'm about over Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I almost got over
Actually,
Chris Pratt
so
real hard.
I didn't mention this earlier, but that Western I was talking about, the kid, Chris Pratt is the uncle, the bad guy. And it is not like...
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you want to see a different side of Chris Pratt, yeah.
Because he was also in Magnificent 7 and was just trash.
I did not see that just because if it's going to be a bad movie, I love the original so much that I would have very high expectations, and I don't think I would enjoy it.
If it makes you feel better, they totally misunderstood it, so it's hardly even the same movie.
Oh, really?
It feels like it's like someone saw it when they were 13 once and then just remade it from memory.
Yeah. Okay. Worst vacation you've been on and why?
Ooh.
Let's see. When my wife and I were dating, and when we first started to get serious, I got her to go on a camping trip with me.
Oh, jeez. Wait, you
is,
might. No. Wait. I think you might have to save this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Save it?
Yeah, save that. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. My worst one was
There wasn't much more to it.
Okay. My worst one was we went to Denver, Colorado to go visit my uncle and my cousins, and on the day that we arrived, he decided to buy a piano from like Craigslist or something like that, right? And he was like, hey, nephew, I need somebody to help me move this fucking piano, right? And I threw out my bag.
Oh, yeah.
And for the whole fucking week and a half that I was there, I was just bedridden. That was terrible. Yeah.
Mine would be we went out to Pennsylvania for a wedding, and brought people back from it. And it's just and we did the return thing in one trip.
Yeah.
So we didn't stop on the way, and there were just people that couldn't handle being in a car that long, and there was just drama and things that happened that
Dude,
I'm not doing that again.
Anytime you're in a car with a group of people for like 12 plus hours, you're testing relationships there. Like Chow and I drove 24 hours to North Carolina, and I swear, like, whenever we got back, we were gonna split up, separate, like all this other shit. I didn't think we were gonna survive.
It's the
that
crucible.
one day. Yeah, it's terrible.
So I think mine would be back in my younger days of being a Boy Scout. We had a camping trip for Indian Lore Merit Badge, where a kid in my troop, while we were watching Dances with Wolves, because truly, is there no better representation of Native American culture than that movie? But so a kid got caught feeding the geese, so to speak, to Nurse Joy from his Game Boy in a room full of like 30 people.
Oh,
it's just like it's like a rip the sheet. They're like, what are you doing?
God.
So pleasant memories there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
Tom says he was glad that wasn't the Boy Scout story that he was expecting.
Yeah, things got real dark with Scoutmaster Steve.
Jason says that try being in a band tour with 4 other guys.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. That's
that's
a special
that tests
kinda
your
hell.
friendship. Yeah, that really does test your friendships. The next question is from Nate from Charlotte, North Carolina. I had a friend girl ask me out to catch up over dinner. That conversation eventually ended up as just a guise to recruit me for a multi-level marketing scheme. Have you ever had to deal with friends and family and MLMs, and what did you do?
I fortunately have not any friend. Well, my family probably wouldn't ever get tied up in something like that. And anybody that's my friend, I would think would know better.
Zach?
Yeah, I've luckily, I mean, being off social media really helps with this, but I have largely avoided this phenomenon.
I've got like distant friends and family that like do it on Facebook, so you'll see all the stuff, but I don't have any. Obviously, I think it's dumb anyways, but like I don't have. They're not going to come to me pushing face cream because I don't care. But no, I remember we were in like Deanna and I were in like a Panera, and there was this guy that there was just like this conversation that was happening that like had this odd amount of intensity to it. We were close enough we could kind of hear what was going on.
Was he trying to convince somebody else?
He was trying to convince some guy, and like you could tell the guy he was trying to convince was like kind of down on his luck. He's like, like he like I don't know if he just like had lost a job somebody recently or something. He was down on his luck, and so like Deanna and I were just like we wanted to walk over there and be like, don't do this,
but don't let him screw you out of the last little bit you have.
It was just like it was so sleazy. Like there's like the sleazy writing of characters and like media that you like you could just tell, but like that it actually happened, and it was really painful. But that's like the closest I've been to like wait what
my family unfortunately is constantly being caught by MLMs, and I think it's because of a tight-knit community thing, so like everybody's like, oh hey, I'm your cousin, and this is the business that I'm getting into and stuff like that, and so like they're constantly knocking on our door and shit like that, trying to take us out to lunch just to hang out and stuff. And then they're also like,
by the way, I've got a proposition for you.
Hey, this is only going to cost you $3,000 up front, but if you sign up 10 other people, then you could be making that $3,000 within 2 weeks or something like that. So I'm just like, it's kind of scared me away from like just talking to family now, especially if somebody comes out of the woodworks out of nowhere.
As a general rule, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Oh, do you guys remember Cutco knives? Do you guys know any of them? Oh my god, like one of my buddies got into that, and
it's just one of the ones that you can cut a soda can in half, but it still stays sharp enough to slice that tomato.
Very much so. And he was trying to recruit me to go door to door selling Cutco knives, and I was just like, no. And he was like,
door-to-door salesman.
And then he was trying to show me, like, one of his shticks was you would take like one of these like kitchen shears or something like that, and you would cut a penny with it. And I'm just like, that thing's made out of copper and that thing's made out of steel. Like,
right. But people don't think about that.
Yeah, people are like, oh, that's amazing. That penny's harder than the chicken breast that I'm gonna cut with it. I'm just like, jeez. Just avoid them.
That's exactly why those types of scams thrive.
Oh, Kathy, you're back. Okay. Recently my sister has been, what's that say?
Binging.
The Bachelor, Bachelorette shows. I have no idea why anyone would care about reality TV shows. What is something that you just don't get? I know Josh would completely agree with you there, Kathy. No.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one that springs to mind, but I think to a lesser degree for me, it would be the Fast and the Furious franchise.
I don't get the Fast and the Furious. And I'm a car guy. I am red-blooded car guy, and it's no longer even a car movie. It's about we were having a conversation about this. It's just like, what's the next thing they're gonna jump?
Right.
You know.
I know I will be ostracized by both this room and anybody that's actually watching this, but I just don't get people's infatuation with Harry Potter. There, I said it. I got it off my chest.
You're a free man.
I would.
You're all free now.
Oh man, it's like a weight's been lifted. But I don't know. Actually, no, I do. I'm joking. I guess I do kind of get that. I'm extraordinarily picky when it comes to fantasy, and I just
Harry Potter's not your thing.
All that private school fetishization, man.
No,
I don't dig it.
I was gonna say, I think my thing would be like Snapchat / Twitter /
I have
like
no
that
idea what that is.
Instant social media-ing thing.
I thought Snapchat was just for sending dick pics to people.
I don't know. I
don't know.
Just don't get it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Zach?
It's Snapchat is literally I didn't use until
you sent the dick pic.
Well, no. I mean that. Honest to God, that was probably what I was originally for. Until some of my friends found me on it and then started just messaging me like normally, and then I was like, Christ! I've been forcibly brought into this.
Right. That's the biggest thing. Is like I've just heard there's a lot of people that use it, so people feel like they have to use it to stay in contact with the people that are using it.
That's exactly the case for me.
But like it just seems like a subpar version of texting.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's useless. It's like, what were we talking about?
That,
we all closed our app, and there's no history to see what we were talking about.
Right.
That seems funny to me. I mean, if if you need an app to stay in touch with those people, like, it's really worth putting forth the effort in the first place,
right?
I don't.
I mean, how
know.
close are you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's I honestly don't talk to family that much, and kind of we take the rule of thumb of no news is good news, right? And then so if there's like for instance, like we use Facebook as kind of just this thing where like I'm alive still. And they're like, okay, he's alive. All right. And then that's it. One of the things that I don't get about Snapchat is like, I saw somebody Snapchat a video of their children's first steps. And I'm like, why would you do this over Snapchat? That shit gets deleted, right? It's like this is one of your most cherished memories, and now it's gone for forever. Like, why? Right. What the hell was the use of?
Well,
this?
like you can only take your video length is restricted or something weird. So like, even if you wanted to take an extended video, it like chops it up into like smaller videos,
little tidbits. It's like what the hell? One of the things I don't get is like influencers. I don't get that at all. Like, I take really nice selfies, and therefore,
people follow me, and then I can push influence.
Oh yeah, FOMO is a great like marketing tool, man.
Oh, I totally get that, man. We live in an extremely narcissistic society.
Oh yeah,
man, so I think that makes perfect sense.
But for the people to follow them too, it's like, what are you getting out of it? Like, you're getting a picture of a pretty person.
I guess
it's something to us. I think it's
somebody that shares
it's aspirational.
A hobby. Yeah,
is it?
I mean, yeah, like you're looking at it. I'm partying in Ibiza, and I'm dancing and taking Molly all day. It's like, that sounds neat. I could do that.
That does sound neat.
Have you guys ever seen the documentary for the Fire Festival?
Yes.
I love that shit. That was fucking awesome. Did you see that?
I actually didn't. I kind of kept my finger on the pulse, but I never actually watched the full
There's
documentary.
like two parallel documentaries.
There's like a Hulu and a Netflix.
There's a Hulu and a Netflix.
I think
both
I saw the
of them
Netflix
are.
one,
yeah, both of them are just as good.
Hell yeah.
And you're just like, this dude is a fuck up. Yeah, it's so good. All right. Jared from Atlanta, Georgia. Is that the right one?
Yep.
I once ran into Hulk Hogan at a lakeside restaurant in Florida, and I asked him to do a wrestling move on me. He picked me up and did a pile driver with my head in between his thighs. Every time I tell people this story, they don't believe me. What's a crazy story? What's a story you have that people are always skeptical about?
I know you talked about your extraterrestrial experience.
Yeah, like that one's. Is that one hard to believe? I have a witness with.
I know, but I feel like it's one of those, like, if you're a skeptic of that type of activity, you typically don't, even if the person you would trust the person otherwise.
Yeah,
but you know, I would feel like that would be something that you
Yeah.
might not get a lot of people to believe you on, but
that
like they believe
So-
you
so-
saw it, but they don't believe
So
it's
what is this?
real.
You met an alien?
No. So Chow and I went to go pick up. This is way back in North Carolina, but we were driving home and there was a light that was like suspended in the air, but it was only like about 20 feet off the ground, right? And as we were driving, it was kind of following us, like in front of us. And then, like I was telling Tyler last time, I'm the one that gets murdered in a monster movie, right? And so I decided to Chow. I'm like, Chow, I'm gonna stop the car. I'm gonna point my headlights at it and see what it is, right? And Chow's like freaking out. She's like, no. I stopped the car and I point my headlights. I hit the high beams, and then it floated away. And then, and I'm like, Chow, we both saw this shit, right? She's like, yeah, I saw it. And then we went home. And like we called up everybody we knew. We talked to everybody that was home, and we were just like, oh my God, I got to get this account off my chest right now, you know. And then I talked to everybody that I could, just so that, you know, it was like immediate, right? It wasn't like the next morning be like, hey Tyler, you know what? Last night I think I saw this thing. I don't remember how it happened exactly. No, it was like, man, we were right on it, and it was both the same experience that Chow and I both
Was this
had.
thing large, small?
I don't know. I couldn't really tell. Like it was
Weird.
It was
Like
kind
close, far.
It was pretty close. Like I would say it was like 20 feet up in the air, and then it would kind of like dip down to like the level of like our windshield, right? And so, it was probably like 10 or 15 feet away from us, and so it was like kind of following us, and I was just like, what the fuck? You know, and this thing scared the Jesus out of us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I have the location for anybody who ever wants to go check
follow
this
up
out.
on this.
Yeah, and I know that this weird thing has always happened to me on this road on Valentine's Day.
So this has happened more than once.
So this has happened more than once. Yeah, this is probably that's probably like my third time running into whatever it was. Like the other time.
Okay, I kind of feel like we should do a road trip version of this show. And
We gotta get to the bottom of this
out because
Field trip time.
We'd have to go on a
I
field
gotta
trip
say,
during
seeing
Valentine's.
seeing is believing after all.
Yeah. I don't know. The last time, the moment before that I ran into it was, I was driving down the same road. It was also Valentine's Day, and under the street light there was this white figure. It was just standing there, right? And it kind of looked like a person with a trench coat on, right? But they were all white. Like I'm not saying it was like an angel or a ghost or anything like that. But as soon as we started approaching it, it crouched down, and then it put its arms up like this, and then it had wings for some reason why, and it just flew straight up into the air. I'm like, oh fuck. I was like, did you just see that? There was another person with me, and I was like, did you just fucking see that? And she was like, yeah, I saw that. Let's turn around. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then on our way back around, we were like, oh, we're never gonna see this damn thing again, right? No, it was standing in the exact same spot, and it did the exact same thing. Just flapped its wings, and it went straight up.
Whoa.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys ever...
You really should have saved these for last, because I don't know about you guys. I have no stories near that cool.
Oh, okay.
Just the time I wrestled Bigfoot on Loch Ness Monster's back. But, you know,
With a
met
UFO
Josh
flying in
Hartnett.
the background.
that's right.
Did
how
you
do
really
think I
meet
got
I
that?
met Josh Hartnett as a child. It was like a food drive thing I was participating in.
Oh, okay.
And he is a St. Paul native and
Yeah.
grew up fairly close to where I grew up.
Oh, wow.
And so I went to his parents' house because this is like right around Pearl Harbor era. So he is just kind of becoming America's it boy.
Yeah.
And so he's there chilling with all his friends because he went to Cretan and then Southwest High School, I think.
Yeah.
And so he's hanging out with his friends. And I had no idea who he was. And he like invited me in. He's like, hey, you guys want to like come inside and like hang out for a little bit? And I was like,
You're Josh
I
Hartnett.
don't know. And I was like, who are you, dude? No. I'm like, what? And then I left. And my mom was like, dude, that was Josh Hartnett. I was like, oh.
Did you go back? I changed my mind.
No, I was like, nah, I'm too cool for you, Josh. Screw you, bro.
Yeah, I guess similar to Jared's story, when I lived in Charleston, I made an appetizer for her and then actually got to meet Bill Murray one time.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Bill Murray's a South Carolina resident. Yeah.
Yeah, he's well, you know, he's an avid golfer, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a good part of the country to be in for.
Oh, yeah.
sure.
If you're into that.
Tyler, you got any crazy stories?
Not to this scale.
No, no. Give us your most plain one.
I don't know.
I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger from
Like,
really
right,
far,
I haven't
far
really
away from
seen
one.
celebrities out in the wild, so to speak. I can't. Nothing's coming to mind, honestly.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Shane from Houston, Texas. What superpower would you want? How would you use it to make the world a better or worse place? Would you be evil or good? Everyone should also add a caveat to balance the superpower. So,
All right, I'll start because I think about this a lot. And my power is like being made of living rubber, not like Mr. Fantastic because he's whack, like like Plastic Man, OG Plastic Man powers.
So whatever I say bounces off of you. To me. Is
More-
that where you're going with this?
That so no one can make fun of me. No, mostly because it's I like the few things that you can do with it are especially disguising. That's a big thing that they always did.
Oh, so you can kind of like change your appearance.
Yep,
and
you
stuff
can
like
impersonate
that.
whoever you want to. I mean, you can't be kept out of anywhere. You can make yourself as small or as big as you want to, like canonically.
Slip in through seals. And everything
totally.
Like
Like
that.
go through the keyhole and get into places. Canonically, Plastic Man can go punch for punch with Superman.
Oh,
The one
interesting.
weakness he really has is he's weak to cold. So his Superman's cold breath can kind of mess him up. But I've always found that it's a cool, and I would definitely be kind of a chaotic neutral to put it in a D&D terms. I think I'd probably do it for equal amounts of just pure
Fun,
selfish,
yeah.
my own gains, and but also you could do some good with that. But that would be what I would pick.
Okay. Any caveats for Mr. Plastic Man?
Can't stretch your genitals.
That's a pretty good caveat.
No sexual enhancement allowed.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
My caveat is that you have to live in the Arctic Circle.
Just be a frozen boy up north.
And none of your powers would work anymore. You're just like, well, I'm normal man now.
Yep, I'm just a slow moving man.
Tyler, you got a superpower?
I think the one that I've always been like kind of captivated by was, I don't know if any of you have played Life is Strange.
No.
Okay, so Life is Strange, the gist of it, it's kind of like similar to
Telltale
Telltale
games
in a way.
Yeah.
But the gist of it is that, like, there's like safe scrubbing and like whatever, is that the main character has the ability to, like, at any given time rewind time about 10 to 20 seconds of time,
redo something.
and redo something. I feel like that would be a very like practical and not ridiculous and not very noticeable, if at all, superpower. I think its caveat is that it is only like half a minute or so of time.
That's OP.
Is it though?
Yeah, that's really OP.
Is it
That's
as
a
OP
great-
as like flying and all the other wacky?
I think it's
wackies?
I think it's a cool concept. I'm trying to think of a good
I think
caveat
it's totally
for it.
OP. Yeah, like if let's say you get into a fight with Superman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Superman comes flying at you and punches you. You could split back 2 seconds, step a little bit, like 2 inches to the left or something like that, and
Right.
then as he comes, like you punch him, and like he would be none the wiser. I
Right.
mean, it's that's a good superpower. That's really strong.
I would say your caveat would be you can only utilize this power with some sort of you had to have done something that day. Like you got to eat like a corned beef sandwich or it doesn't work.
I know the limitation was that one, like, she gets this power, she doesn't know what it's from, and as she uses it, like the fabric of reality starts to like deteriorate around
her. Yeah,
and so like the more she uses it,
she starts falling out of reality.
Perhaps you would also age at an extraordinary rate.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
not like you can turn the clock back. So I mean, you do it.
A million times in your life, and you're like,
And then
know,
all of a sudden you've aged 100 years.
yeah,
Right.
and you're still in high school.
right,
Clock stoppers.
right,
Yeah,
right.
I would my caveat would probably be you'd have to hold your breath the whole time.
Ooh.
So that's your
It's a good-
limitation of rewind time.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
do you have to decide, I'm going to maybe want to rewind from this point, so you hold your breath, and that's your return point.
Yeah, so it rewinds 1 to 1. It's not like quick, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you wanted to rewind 5 minutes, you have to be able to hold your breath.
Oh,
5
okay. So
minutes.
from the moment you decide you want to rewind at all, you have to hold your breath.
hold your
Okay.
breath. Yeah.
Okay. I'd actually be okay at that, I think.
Yeah. That's still not bad. Yeah. You might be really out of breath at one point. I don't know.
Right, you come
Yeah.
back into existence and you're just like,
And they're like, what the fuck happened to you? You look like you ran a mile. Okay. Dylan, did you have a superpower?
I think if I was going to, I'd probably go like the Jean Grey route and have, telepathy, telekinesis. I could see that coming in really handy.
My caveat is every time you use it, you faint.
I always like the Professor X's ability to actually get in there and start,
fucking with your mind.
Monkeying around. I'm like, I could find that useful.
Any caveats?
Ooh.
Which one are we going with? Jean Grey or
I'd probably
Professor X?
I'd probably go Jean Grey because she's got
telepathy.
she's got the telepathy and the telekinesis.
I would say you can only do it if you're naked.
That's fine.
Any cloth touching your body renders you
unable to. You
can just trick people into thinking you're not naked. That's
exactly.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
As far as using it for good or evil, I would love to think that I would use it for good, but probably would use it for personal
I'd be selfish as fucking possible.
Totally.
Yeah, I probably would.
I think an interesting caveat would be whenever you do any sort of like mind-to-mind connection, you are also feeling very directly any feelings that person is feeling as well. So if you're using it for evil, then you will be very you're feeling that negative feeling.
So if I make you cry, it's going to make me cry too.
Yeah.
Cool.
I actually like that. That's actually a really good one. That balances that out a lot.
Yeah, and then I'd pretty much have to use it for good.
Yeah. You no longer have a choice. Yeah, because you don't want to feel bad.
Well, I suppose you do, but yeah. You know.
Or you just use the telekinesis part of it and just
throw things at people. I'm already pretty good at making myself feel like shit. So I mean, maybe it wouldn't be that much of a handicap.
Nice Dog says that we would really like the Awesomes on Hulu.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it's a blind spot.
Is that like a bunch of superheroes?
I don't know, but I'm gonna look it up when I get home.
Okay. I would probably. Okay, I'm Goku. That's my superpower. He's OP as hell.
My caveat is that you are animated.
That's not that bad of a
caveat.
Not that
bad. That's not that bad. Yeah, that's not that bad.
I'm not well versed enough in Dragon Ball lore to really know.
Yeah,
he's basically Superman without any weaknesses.
But doesn't he have to like charge up for 3 episodes or something?
Yeah, kind of.
His biggest weakness is that you have Krillin with you at all times.
Yeah. Krillin's always tagging along. Yeah.
Every time you get the Dragon Balls, you're always just resurrecting Krillin.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Shane. Chris from Yonkers, New York. Welcome back, Chris. Death has come for you. In a last-ditch attempt to save your life, you challenge Death to a game where you have the best chance of winning. What do you challenge him to?
Oh crap! How did that pan out?
This is a Bill and Ted thing,
I was gonna
right?
say, how did that pan out in the second Bill and Ted?
They beat him. What's the game they beat him on?
It was a board game, right?
They play a bunch of board games.
Yeah,
they just keep beating him.
Yeah,
they play like Operation. And
Twister.
Yeah.
Battleship. Yeah. Anyway, to circle back to the
question,
the meat of the question, game where I have the best chances of winning.
Mine's probably Street Fighter 4.
Ooh.
Oh.
I feel like my strategy, and I can't think of a good game that I could employ this upon, would be a game that you can get into a stalemate situation and perpetually like try to just outlast him of just like, I've got all day, dude.
The war game,
right?
Yeah,
tic-tac-toe.
Beating him. Yeah.
Right.
I would do the counting game from Pokemon Snap, or no, Pokemon Stadium for N64.
Which one's that?
It's a mini game where it's like count the chances.
And
there's like a herd of Pokemon running across, and it's like you got to pick out the chances and count them.
But did you notice the dancing bear? Do you know? I don't know if you've seen that.
I think that one it would depend on the display for me. Yeah,
okay.
You give me a good CRT and I'll be able to count every fucking chancey. But nah.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't
You're
know
dead.
I don't know what game it
You're
would
dead.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, how capable is Death?
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
point. Right?
I would say Death is probably not that super great at it.
I don't know.
I think the thing is,
like
if this is a rule that's in play or a thing that is known, in theory, lots of people have challenged Death to lots of games over time and not won.
He's probably gotten really good at everything.
So you'd want to find. I'm almost
something obscure.
Yeah, something obscure. Something that's.
Yeah.
fuck. I would love to say Uno, but Jesus, I know.
You just gotta pick a game of chance. I'm gonna roll.
I'm gonna flip this
If
coin
it's
real
even,
quick.
I win. Odd, you lose. You win.
Nothing.
No, I got nothing.
Okay,
I don't know,
you're-
maybe crabs.
Hit him with a Hobbit style riddle. What do I got in my pocket?
yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Chris. Wes from Anaheim. During the burial ceremony of my girlfriend's favorite aunt, I had an extremely funny thought run past my mind.
Oh, dear God.
And he says, I can't share this thought as it really wasn't that funny, and my girlfriend would dump me right away. I started to laugh and chuckle uncontrollably. I tried to disguise it as crying, but I could tell everyone knew I was laughing. We got into a pretty big fight that night.
Oh.
What was your most awkward laughing moment? During a Valentine's Day dinner at church, one of my dad's friends got in front of everybody, and he was talking about how he'd been practicing a song for his wife. He was going to sing this beautiful song, and the first note out of his voice was like, oh. And I fucking lost it. Like I was laughing throughout the whole song, and I was sitting there and I could not hold it in. And the worst part is as I was sitting there laughing my ass off, my sister was sitting across from me looking at me, and she says, "Stop it still. You're making me laugh too." And so we had this perpetual thing, and Chow's sitting next to me, and she's like crying from holding back like her laughter so hard. Like I felt so bad because it seemed like he tried so hard to learn this song. Like he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come out of my shell to
Right.
you know," and I just couldn't help but just laugh at him so bad, and I felt so bad. That was super awkward.
Oh, at least he'll know better next time.
Any of you guys have awkward?
Gosh, I almost hesitate to tell this story because I feel
No,
so
you
bad
must
about
tell it now.
I guess it wasn't so bad, but it was like an old family friend. Their youngest kid, who is probably like 10 years younger than me or so, had like a super bad stutter in his early life.
Oh, geez.
And like, I couldn't even help myself, but the kid was just trying to get a sentence out at like this big family like dinner we're all at. And he's like, I'm probably 12, 13, 14. So just in your shittiest phase of your life. And this kid's just trying to say something, and it like, dude, stuttering's just funny. And I just couldn't stop laughing. I like, my parents just made me go sit in the yard.
Yeah, sounds about right.
You're done.
And
Get out of here.
rightly so. Jeez.
I don't advocate for my own behavior.
No.
I don't have an awkward laughing story.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
I
comes
definitely
to
like.
mind.
I mean, the only thing that's coming to mind is like I was listening to like a funny podcast at work at one point, and just like, and
That-
you, like do that, and then you take
yeah.
your headphones off, and you realize like people are like looking at you.
They're like, what
But,
happened?
Like, right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you two are better human beings than me and Zach. So.
I'm not sure that actually follows.
Yeah,
But
thank you, Wes. You have pulled that.
Yeah, thank you
deep,
very
dark
much,
secret
Wes.
out of me.
How are we doing on time? I know people had to.
We're at 3 hours and 30 minutes.
I just want to make sure if people had to get
Yeah.
going.
Are you okay, Dylan?
yeah,
Well,
we run
got
through
we got-
these real
yeah.
quick.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So
I like
thank you,
whoever
Wes.
this unknown, this dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
is really catching
This
my
one's. I know who it is. I'm not gonna tell you who it is.
eye. Oh, or this Mandy one sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So
too.
Mandy was the one that Yep.
follow up. Okay.
Okay. So let's go to. Oh, we already did
Yep.
Wes, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Recently,
Ian from Hickory, North Carolina. Hey, Ian. I recently went on a hunting trip where my father brought some dried corn to set up traps for deer. I think that's illegal.
Probably depends on where you are. But yeah.
Unknowingly, I thought it was human snacks and threw it on an iron skillet with some oil to make popcorn over the campfire. Needless to say, my father was extremely angry when he found out I burned all of his corn. What's a funny camping and outdoor story you guys have? That's why I told you to wait.
Oh, well, my story actually wasn't funny. It was probably one of my worst vacations.
Oh,
I ended up
oh.
being sick the whole time, like bedridden sick.
Oh, this might be funny.
Yeah, so that was it.
That
that
does
was it.
suck. Yeah, that does suck.
Funny.
One time, I was in the Boundary Waters with my family on a camping trip, and my older brother, we were making campfire bacon, which is chewy, and you can't really
you can't crisp it up. Yeah.
And so my older brother just started choking on his bacon. And it was kind of your typical no one's really doing anything. He's trying. You're to all clearly looking I'm choking right now. And I remember my cousin who is probably 10 years older than us, and we're all probably in our early teens. And he's 23, and I just remember this look on his face where he is just so disgusted. He's just like, "Can you do that somewhere else, please?
Can you go die somewhere else?
Your life
just die already.
Encounter is really bumming me out, bro. Can you give me some
God.
Space?" But that is oh man, and oh my God, I have an even better one. So my older brother also, this poor bastard has I think he stays out of the woods permanently. He got bit on his dong by a wolf spider. And I don't know if you've seen a wolf spider bite, but it's
necrosis.
It's bad. And so I remember because it's you wake up and you hear the screams, and then it's you gotta show your wound to adults. It's I got a problem, and then you got to pry it out of him. It's what's wrong with you? He's like, I would really prefer to tell you in private. Okay, and but there's a committee of adults who had to be inspecting it to chime in. Are we going to the hospital, or are we just going to the infirmary?
Yeah, the adults are like, what do we do, guys? I've never seen a dong like this before.
This dong has a dong. But yeah, so he is my older brother has really
that's
struggled.
really unfortunate.
He's had some bad times in the woods.
That's rough.
Tyler?
It's not a story that happened to me, but in scouting, I remember hearing a story about people just around the campfire at night, and I don't remember, they were talking about something or another, and I think a lot of people had gone to bed at this point, and all of a sudden, just a mouse runs from the bushes behind and just jumps in their campfire. And just there's just this iconic story about remember that time that the mouse, and I think it happened the year before I was with people, so that would just get referenced constantly.
I actually had something similar happen with a toad on a camping trip, sitting by the fire and watching this thing, and it's jumping. I didn't bother doing anything about it, because I'm like, well, it's a toad, I'm sure the thing's got enough sense to not jump into the fire. Mm-hmm. It did not.
Did it pop whenever?
It went sizzle. In, and it was just. It was pretty gross.
I went on a hunting trip with my uncle in the Colorado mountains for elk, and the whole time we were going up there, my uncle was sitting there kind of halfway joshing with me. He was like, "Oh, you better watch out for bears. You better watch out for bears." And I'm like, "Oh, are there really bears out there?" And he's like, "Yeah, there's real bears out there." And I'm like, "Oh shit," and so I was sitting up there, and one night, I get up in the middle of the night because my stomach's rumbling and shit. I gotta run out into the woods, and I got out of the tent, and I'm terrified. I'm sitting here thinking of these bears are gonna come get me, right? So I do my business kind of close to the tent, and then so I didn't think anything of it. I went back to sleep, and the next morning, my uncle, he's shouting, at the top of his lungs, "Steele, get out of the tent, get out of the tent!" And I'm like, what's going on? I come out, and he's my next to my, my pile of poo. And he's got a stick, and he's poking. He's like, "A bear came last night." I was like, "Yeah, that was a bear." Oh my God, that was a big bear. That's probably my funniest one.
I had a group of buddies in high school that we used to go camping together all the time. And I remember this one time, one of our buddies, high school guys, so there was obviously a lot of drinking going on.
A lot of maturity.
Yeah, and a lot of maturity. One of our buddies had passed out in the middle of the day in this hammock that was set up. So we wrapped the hammock around him, and we duct taped him in there. With his face,
just so he could breathe.
Well, no, because it was one of those, how a hammock's got the
crosses.
The crosses. Yeah. So he's got, pressed right up against his face. And then what finally woke him up was my one buddy's dog went over and just started licking the shit out of him. And he wakes up and he starts screaming and yelling at us. And of course, we didn't make a move to let him out of there.
No.
We made him sit and let the dog lick him for probably a good hour before one of us felt bad enough to let him out.
That reminds me of that scene from Tropic Thunder where they tied up Jack Black because you know, and he's like, I swear to God, I'll suck your dick right now. I was like, just give me a little bit. All right. All right. Thank you very much, Ian. Brittany from Morganton, North Carolina. What is your phobia, and was there a specific thing that happened to you to have that phobia? I have a phobia about drowning, and whenever I was really young, I want to say I was like 4 or 5. We lived in this apartment complex, and I remember. I'm not sure if you can actually count it a drowning, but I mean, I remember inhaling a lot of water and having like a near-death experience. I remember like my body, like that sense of panic kicks in, right?
Totally.
And then like things started to calm down, and then I remember feeling really, really nice and warm, and then I remember like some sort of a light, and then I remember waking up on the side of the pool. So
Jeez.
yeah, and so like I have, even though I swim like a fucking dolphin, like I have this fear of the deep. Yeah.
I mean, my biggest like phobia is I'm not a fan of heights, but I don't have a particular story behind it. I just don't like.
You just don't like
heights.
Yeah, I can't think of any particular phobia. I mean, heights can be slightly overwhelming.
But we did that. We put that fan in at work.
Yeah, but I'm not too bad with it. I can deal with it.
But nothing in particular. No arachnophobia. Spiders don't bug you.
Not particularly. No. Actually, you know what's funny about spiders? It's like the big, gross, scary, like hairy. You know.
You like them?
No, those ones don't bother me. It's the little like opaque, tiny little.
Totally.
Those things freak me out.
They could be on you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, those are the ones that freak me out, but no particular reason. I don't know what it is, but yeah, those little seemingly harmless ones are the ones that like really gross me out.
I used to work with this guy whenever I was working at a steakhouse, and it was a white dude, and he had longer hair, and one day he started to do the cornrows in his head.
Oh, yeah.
So he had somebody do cornrows in his head, and I guess he didn't live in particularly sanitary conditions, but at one point. He started getting really sick all the time, and he had like really bad rashes and everything like that. And with cornrows, like you just leave that shit in, like you're not supposed to take it out unless you're ready to take it out. Well, apparently some mama spider decided to lay a sack of eggs in his cornrows, and the babies got out, and they were like biting him in the scalp and shit like that, and so. Yeah, it was really unfortunate. Yeah, now you guys
really ruined my plans. I was gonna start twisting some dreads in, but damn it.
No phobia, Zach?
I had a pretty bad phobia of heights that I kind of got over working at a climbing wall at scout camp.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't say get over. I'd definitely get a little like lightheaded if I'm up there. And even to your drowning, I've been present for a drowning. Yeah, that was pretty traumatic. So that's like it's like less I'm worried about myself drowning.
Yeah,
it's more like
other people.
The thought of that occurring again is pretty like, oh shit, this is something that happens like that.
Yeah, I don't want to be around people who are dying. Yeah, it's scary. Sucks. Okay. Thank you very much, Brittany. Mandy from Mount Airy. Hey guys, thanks for the previous advice. I approached my friend about a possible romantic relationship, and he turned me down, but proposed a friends with benefits relationship. I honestly do not know what to think about that. I feel I'm starting to fall for him a bit. Maybe if we do start the friends with benefits relationship, we can maybe spark something more. What do you guys think? Do guys just want the sexual part of a romantic relationship?
I don't know how old you are, Mandy, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. It sounds like he is just interested in sex. I would be very cautious about getting into that type of relationship, especially considering that you feel like you're starting to fall for him a bit. I do not see that going anywhere but bad.
Yeah, don't count on
feelings
starting there and him developing feelings.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to his credit, it sounds like he was completely forthcoming and totally honest with you. But yeah, I don't think it would ever go anywhere past physical. Personally.
So I feel like I should have gave context about Mandy from the last episode. She's known this guy ever since middle
For a
school.
while. I don't know if you have the questions last time. But
Yeah, I still haven't, but she's known him for a really long time, and he's I guess you could say he's come on to her before, kind of, and that he would be like, hey, I would so be into you if we weren't friends, and so
yeah, that's speaking from the standpoint of a former womanizer. That's classic. That is classic. I'm gonna get what I want out of this at all costs.
I would agree with Dylan to a large degree. I feel like because you're putting yourself out there. I think if you and he both decide that you want to have a friends with benefits relationship and no feelings invested, I think that's perfectly fine. But
there's nothing wrong with that. But
I agree.
It's so much easier said than done.
It is.
Problem.
She's also said that she's
kind of falling
right.
for him.
You are already past the point of being able to commit to a benefits thing.
I don't see a way for her to be able to proceed without having feelings hurt.
I can agree with that. And with those feelings hurt, I think your friendship might be at risk as well.
Agreed.
Totally.
Yeah. Don't do it, Mandy, unless it's all
unless she's got
platonic?
some super confidence in the quality
of her sexing skills.
Yeah. Hey, if you think you can, just to play devil's advocate here, because I largely agree with the consensus here, but man, if you think you can pop that pee,
I don't know. I don't think it's smart. Tyler?
I would agree with you.
Nah.
Not getting as many green flags as I am getting red.
Yeah.
Sex is just too. It's not something that can be done in a vacuum.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Okay. Thank you, Mandy. Give us a follow up. Yeah. Tell us what happens next week. Maybe. Hopefully, he's not listening to this. He might. I don't know. Message us next time. Unknown from unknown. I made out with my best friend's girlfriend. She told him,
"Cool move, bro."
Yeah. But to protect my identity, the best friend's girlfriend didn't tell him whom he made out with, because he didn't want me and her boyfriend to ruin our friendship. But then she turned around and told her best friend, a girl who happens to be a friend of her boyfriend's also. When my best friend heard that she'd made out with someone, I pretend I was shocked to hear that she made out with another guy just so my friend wouldn't suspect me. Now I need advice on what to do. Do I tell him the truth before someone else does? Or do I tell her best friend to just keep her mouth shut and bury it? Please help me save my relationship with my friend and his relationship with his girlfriend. You shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, you fucked up.
You shouldn't have done it.
I'm going to agree with that too.
But man up.
Yeah,
Truth will set you free.
Yeah, I would say put your boots on and tell him if he finds out from somebody else.
Yeah,
you're not recovering from that.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying he's your best friend, and I can understand that something like this might come over you, and you might do something like that. But
the deceit's the worst part.
Yeah, the deceit is the worst part. Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
He is going to be pissed at you for a while, but I think if you tell him, you've at least got a chance of recovering. Personally,
yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
That relationship with the girl though, that seems like that might be in trouble.
Yeah,
because it's like it would have been one thing. I mean, like it sounds like there's at least that good communication. And they're like, hey, I goofed up and I'm going to be upfront about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that there was still some information withheld.
That's deceitful.
It's like how can you trust somebody?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you're like where's that missing chunk on everything I hear from you moving forward?
I don't know, man. It's
yeah, that's a tough spot for sure.
Yeah, just man up. I don't know what your goal is. I don't know if you're trying to hook up with your best friend's best friend's girlfriend, or
the context is shockingly absent.
I don't know what his main goal is. If you have no intentions with the best friend's girlfriend, Like, don't take it any further. You got to man up.
Because you're one. This is kind of a scumbag way to go, but I mean, you could torpedo her on the way to like saving the friendship. I mean, like she just just put it on her. Like she just was desperate for me not to tell you, but I have to tell you, bro. I don't deceive you.
I don't know how old you guys are, and I don't know. It's
Right,
probably
there's
70,
so many, like,
60,
it's just
70.
so-
I'm guessing. I like it way more in that version. These are some like nursing,
old ass old dudes. If that's the case, man, yeah, torpedo her. If you're like old ass dudes, man, it's like fuck it, man. But yeah, if you guys are in high school, there's plenty of other girls out there, and that's not your only chance. So don't ruin a friendship, especially if you really do consider him your best friend.
You can pull out like making out with your girl is a dive you can pull out of.
I think so. I think so. I mean, there's going to be trust issues in the future.
Totally.
Right.
But you can always work together.
But if you're like a 15-year-old, I think anybody as they ages are going to be like, yeah, we were 15. We were idiots.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You might not feel that way now, but
Right.
definitely.
If this is your best
we just
friend,
like low key called 15-year-olds idiots. No
well,
big deal.
no, it's not that. I think
I'll stand by that.
you're excusable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, whenever you're 25, you're gonna be like, Jesus,
Well, your
I remember
hormones are
that.
just out of control.
Yeah.
No, all right. Good luck, unknown. Hero from Anaheim, California. What's the coolest fight scene you've seen in a movie or TV show? We just saw it, right?
Oh,
Ricky.
Damn you for even asking that question. How are you supposed to choose that?
Okay, so I actually have two answers because I think about this every once in a while. But so in the first raid, Redemption,
That was pretty good.
the 2v1 fight at
Hallway?
the end.
Yeah.
So I love like especially the machete gang fight,
yeah.
but at the end where it's the two brothers against the main enforcer,
Yeah.
that shit is so
I
well
like,
choreographed.
and I like how small that dude was too.
And
you know,
exactly,
that-
it's
that-
like he's kind of
it's more threatening because you're like, oh shit, like he's a super tiny dude, but you know, it's like everybody's scared of him. Like,
Totally.
obviously,
and especially as the fatigue sets in over that fight.
Yeah,
I really
you-
love anyone where there's like a realistic amount of stamina being expanded
yeah.
and people are like barely like they got to take a breather
Yeah.
while they fight for a little bit
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you jump
yeah.
back in. I thought that was like really kind of it felt like a
That
fight
was
scene that
well-paced.
could happen if
Yeah.
you were a super badass.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was a complete like movie scene.
Jackie Chan's Drunken Master 2.
Yes.
That
That's
movie
an
is
excellent pick.
probably the best, in my opinion, probably the best fight scenes of any movie.
I thought the Netflix Punisher series, that prison fight
yes.
scene. Oh my god,
Fuck yeah.
that or actually another good Punisher, that short film, that Thomas Jane short film, when he fights all them dudes
the laundromat?
oh my god, that one was just sick too. I also recently I was watching Alien Covenant, and the fight, the fight between David and Walter I mean it's short.
It's short, yeah.
It's short, but was like pretty fucking kick ass.
I don't know, Thomas Jane and what is that? Kevin who's that? Kevin Nash in the first
yeah, when
Punisher?
he's the giant
the bathroom?
striped shirt
Yeah.
guy.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Russian?
Well,
Yeah.
that was really great because I mean that was just
a fun fight scene,
Well, it
yeah.
was that was just so true to the comic.
Yeah.
Like a
Oh,
lot.
was
There was
it?
actually a lot of stuff in that movie that if you are a Punisher comic book fan
Yeah.
from back in the day, like you recognize a lot of those scenes.
I mean,
when he's got the dude hanging upside down and he's
And
touching
he's
him
like,
with the
oh.
popsicle.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
straight
really?
out of,
Is that-
straight out of the comics.
I mean, I still think Thomas Jane's best Punisher.
he was just awesome.
No, remember Dolph Lundgren?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, my ultimate Marvel movie will be if they ever make a Punisher movie with Nick Fury where they have Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher and David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
That's actually pretty good.
If you've never seen that, you really need to dig that gem up and give it a view.
Dust her off.
Fight scenes, Tyler?
I usually don't pay attention to a lot. Like, I'm not a super big action movie buff or anything. The most recent one that I remember being like, wow, I really enjoyed that was the fight scene in the Witcher Netflix series where he fights like Renfri's like they're in the town. It's one of the first.
It's one of the very first fight
episode.
scenes. That was actually like, I feel like in the Netflix Witcher series, that was like the only good fight scene.
That was like notably good. I think the other ones were passable. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I guess I wasn't like bothered by some of the other ones, but
the other ones I felt like really felt Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess like.
yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I really appreciated the like extended cuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'm somewhat. I know like Daredevil Netflix had a couple fights.
Those
that
were pretty
also
good. Like
extended
super
cuts.
long shots.
Yeah, long shots.
Yeah.
So I think I have an appreciation for those being well executed.
In The Witcher, there was a lot of head chopping off. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I wish they would have emphasized what is that, like the silver sword and the steel sword.
Which
Hey,
I don't
where they'll go
know
with
in the lore if he actually had both swords at that point.
I think
shit.
that's
Why he only has the
okay.
one.
Okay.
But yes, it is Blaviken. That's
okay.
That's
town.
where he gets like the name
Yeah,
Butcher Blaviken.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay. And Daniel from Rochester, Minnesota. Go Rochester. I guess that's supposed to be when?
Probably.
When I was a kid, my family rented 2 adjacent vacation homes with friends of the family staying in one. I was really young, 7 or 8, and I was in my friend's house waiting for him to get ready. He opened the door to the bathroom, and his mother was completely naked, just standing there for a few of the longest seconds ever before screaming and shutting the door. About 25 years later, I think that's where I got my king for older women. What is the best accidental nudity you've ever seen?
So I would like to. I just want to make sure I understand this. So it says his friend opened the door and
His
also
friend
witnessed
opened the
his
door.
own mother's nudity.
He's probably traumatized.
That's a bad day.
Yeah,
That's a
that
bad
kid,
fucking
his
day.
friend is probably traumatized.
As your friend is horned out, just like, wait,
Yeah.
dude, what are you doing?
No, he actually had jerk material for the next like 6 years, 7 or 8. I don't know. I don't know.
Accidental nudity, though.
Accidental. I've committed accidental flash.
Oh,
Like full on
certainly.
frontal.
Certainly.
Yeah. I was in the 2nd grade, and we were having I don't know what they called it. It was like a spring. It was, we were in elementary school, and they would put out like the sprinklers and like the little kiddie pools,
Like a
and stuff
field
like
day type
yeah,
thing?
kinda. And like people would, like I remember distinctly that you were supposed to wear swimming shorts that day, and then you could wear like pants and a shirt on top of that, and then whenever the swimming or the water activity started, and then I saw the other boys, they were topless and stuff. Me being a little chubbo, I was like super nervous, and my friend Katie, she was like standing there, and she was in this like one piece bathing suit, and I was just sitting there shaking, and I took off my shirt, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna pull down my pants, reveal my swimming shorts, and I accidentally grabbed my swimming shorts.
Yeah.
I went down really fast, and she saw everything. Like she, oh my god! And I said. And I stood there for a little while, and I was like, this isn't so bad. And I looked down, and I realized I had pulled down my swimming shorts with my pants. And then I ripped them back up and ran away into like the bathroom. And then, yeah. So that's my accidental
I bet that's
flashing.
what you were looking for, Daniel. You heard about our accidental nudity.
Daniel really wanted to hear about us exposing ourselves to little Katie.
Hey,
So I don't know if I've encountered a whole lot of accidental nudity in my
In your time,
goings on.
you're so innocent.
I mean, it happened.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
I've been like flashed. I remember in,
right, but
in,
that's
like,
not accidental.
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah, that's not
accidentally
Yeah.
but certainly there were minor brushes with nudity that like leave you like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
I can't think of any particular incident myself, but I feel pretty confident saying that any one of them that may or may not have occurred were probably all pretty great.
Nudity's just pretty cool. all
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Nah, I would agree with that. Okay, and so we're pretty much done with all the questions. Anything from the chat? I don't think anybody's watching.
There's a handful of people here, but
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the second episode of the Perfect Zeros podcast. Any outgoing words from you guys?
I don't think so.
San Dimas high school football rules.
Ever since you brought up Ibiza, I can't stop thinking about Molly.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Good night.
Later.
See you, everybody.
Bye.